Waxy, how you doing?
Hello, Jack.
Yeah.
Towards
Alright,
no,
I'm able
towards
to
the
go.
end, he's just gonna
Yeah.
start
If that
slurring
happens,
the sleepy
I
time
will
tea.
continue
Yeah. And hello everybody, we are live with the latest Rook Club. I think we've got the most people for a Rook Club, or if not the same amount of max, with 6 people including myself, doing a Rook Club. Everybody say hi to Waxy, Venom, joining us for the first time, Haven, Aris, and Tiny. We are
Hello.
jumping into the streets of Minrathous. Oh, I'll let everybody say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, I love your hat.
Thank you.
I didn't know we could have hats.
Oh, we can all have
Yeah.
hats. We're all
I have
allowed
a
hats.
crown.
We all have hats.
You
I
need
have a
like an old
crown.
tinfoil hat PNG you can just put on all of us.
Oh
We-
yes,
Oh!
that would be
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Next time.
Someone make a PNG of a tinfoil hat.
Next time. We will. I will next time. Somebody remind me. I have my Dreadwolf shirt on as well for things to get dreadful. But today we're reading The Streets of Minrathous, which I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it. But it's all about Nev Gallus, our private investigator, joining as our Ice Mage companion. So it's a really good one for a bit of character backstory before we really get into the Veilguard. Tying into Dragon Age The Missing as well, which is the follow-up comic. But yeah, it's going to really show us a lot of characteristics about Nev. And voicing Nev for us is Haven, who is first time voicing the show. Haven, what does Dragon Age mean to you, Haven?
Oh my god.
No
So
pressure.
many things. Yeah, oh yeah.
How much time do you guys have?
Yeah, no.
So- Dragon Age means a lot to me. Dragon Age, like, funny enough, it came in like a very rough time for me. I was in a really, like, not great relationship at the time, and so, like, getting all of those games, like, I got them all from, all of them in a pack.
Yeah.
And I was like playing it through, and I was like, these characters feel so like real and healthy, and their banter is just like so fun. It feels like a family, and it was really like a big like comfort to me when getting through. And also I'll say this, so this is funny, I always say it, that like Dragon Age meant so much to me that so I got them all in the 360, right, and like a bundle. I got to Inquisition, realized that I couldn't play the DLC because I was on an old gen console, so I got a PS4 just to play Inquisition. But then I realized, wow, I don't have a TV that has an HDMI cable, so I bought a whole ass flat screen TV and a PS4 just so I could play Inquisition. So I'm really dedicated.
I honestly forgot that Inquisition came out on the 360, and then they couldn't put Trespasser on it. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, there
Oh
was
my
no
goodness.
DLC.
Yeah.
That's
I
like,
was like,
games
oh,
that old. Oh no.
yeah, I know.
Oh no.
It has been 10 years. It's
Oh,
like
Yeah.
my back hurts.
It literally
Right.
has.
I don't
Yeah.
think like I
It's
wasn't
on the
even
360. What?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no.
God.
Yeah, I was
play
the
until
same.
like 2016, 17. So it's like I'm
Oh no.
new.
Yeah, so,
Haven,
yes.
just for the people in the chat, you use they them pronouns, right?
Oh, yes, I do. I'm
Okay,
non-binary. I use they, them pronouns. So, hi, chat.
Damas says you already sound like Nev. Spot on.
Yeah.
What the chat doesn't know is that I kind of look like Nev, too. So
Oh!
Wait, no, okay. As
No,
as
no,
someone
no,
who
no,
gets
no,
to
no,
look
no.
at Haven and look at them a lot more over the next coming months, it does definitely, there's like a Neve
Yeah.
aspect.
they
Yeah.
literally
Nev, I keep saying Neve.
Yeah, honestly, honestly, Sam.
Yeah, my friends were like, "Oh my god, you could definitely cosplay her," and I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
well,
like good.
I'm excited to see.
And we all go over to the Blooming Rose.
Yeah.
It's the same debate as people are saying Gillinan differently, and I'm like, Gillinane.
I say it the way Sola says it. He says Gillinan.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he's got to know everything.
And we
right?
know Solas is right about everything.
Yeah.
That's painful.
Oh no, someone sussed out who I was. Shit.
It's
no, who says you are?
okay.
Justin, go away.
Oh, hi, Justin.
I was trying to
Just call you
chat. I was
Stairs.
chatting in chat under a different name, being like, "Oh, this is fine. No one's gonna notice me."
I mean, my name is like different as well. So I was like, it's not one tiny human in
Mine's the
chat.
same. I can't go anywhere. I can't hide.
Nobody can hide, no. But yeah, we have a big cast for this one, folks. So there's quite, honestly, looking at this one, there was so many voices in this one. It's like, I'm doing a few silly ones. Everybody, I think most people are at least doing 2, because there's a lot of just different Tevinter characters hanging about. So we've got quite
all
a few
around
characters.
town, man.
She knows the streets of Minrathous. Like,
everybody.
yeah, like legit. So without further ado, what we'll do is we'll jump straight in. Yeah, we will dive into Nev's, what's the word, intricate web in the streets of Minrathous and learn about her backstory as well as a few Veilguard things going on. I won't go through everybody's characters. I'll leave it as a surprise because there's a few fun ones in there as well as just keeping things as spoiler free as possible for those who are listening to this for the first time. So we will jump straight into this. If everybody is ready, has their wine or their tea, like I do in my little French bulldog mug, and has a snack or whatever, we will jump straight in. So, The Streets of Minrathous by Brianna Batty. Quick little tidbit: Brianna Batty, as of last week, is no longer on the Dragon Age team. Sounds like she's just going over to the Mass Effect team or another project in BioWare or EA. But she's no longer on the Dragon Age team, which means that she's probably not working on any DLC or is working on something else. Well, who knows? Maybe the next team could be the DLC team. We don't know. Anyway, so the streets of Minrathous are never truly deserted, but they do a decent impression of it after midnight. Not that it calmed Quentin Carla's nerves. He scurried down the quiet alley, head on a swivel as if afraid he was being followed. I was following him, but I wasn't the reason he was spooked. The man didn't know I was there. I let him get a good ways down the alley before tailing after. Quentin's uncle, Otho Callow, was worried his nephew had fallen back in with the Veilguard. The cult had lost its bite after their would-be god was struck down by the glorious Inquisitor. After that, a good number of cultists who never admitted they were Veilguard in the first place distanced themselves from the whole affair. Of course, that didn't stop remaining loyalists from acting delusional and stirring up trouble when the mood struck. That's fanatics for you. Quentin paused halfway down the alley and started muttering to himself. His left hand closed around a gold chain at his neck. I channeled a bit of magic, ready for whatever he planned to do, then let it fade back. He was giving himself a pep talk. This wasn't his part of the city. Quentin's parents had disowned him years ago. Otho thought Quentin was up to something more than spouting cult mantras. He wanted to know if he'd been a fool to give Quentin a second chance. But going to the proper authorities draws attention. And what if he was wrong? He'd face scandal for nothing. Otto needed information. That's where I came in. I don't work with people in Carla's circle often, but I couldn't argue with the offer. If Quentin's uncle was wrong, I'd save him the embarrassment of Minrathous gossip. If he was right, my information would give him enough time to play martyr and bribe the right people for a quiet arrest. The way I saw it, I was getting a controlling uncle off Quentin's back or a dangerous Veilguard off my streets. Either way worked for me. Pep talk over, Quentin walked into the open. The alley led to the docks. Quentin made his way to one of the storehouses, a brown brick building, no difficult in its neighbours, throwing nervous looks left and right. It was a wonder I hadn't seen him robbed on the way here. I moved to stand in the shadow cast by a stack of wooden shipping crates. The night air was warm, and I could hear the slap of water on rock. I flexed my fingers, pulling a stream of cold air into being. A light mist formed, nothing too showy, but enough to cover my position. Quentin may not have been observant, but I wasn't taking chances. I watched him pull a pouch from his pocket and sprinkle the contents over a brazier. The flame sputtered and turned pale blue. A signal. A figure in white and beige robes approached from the shadows. Unlike Quinton, they were unbothered by the docks or the late hour.
You're here.
Quinton said, with the relief of a man who rarely sees things go right.
You'll tell the others.
But I'll never know what Quinton thought the others should hear. The figure that stepped into the light wore a full face mask of polished bronze.
Who?
Quinton started. Then the dagger was lodged in his neck. I hadn't seen it coming. Quinton was down. The figure crouched over his body. I felt a sudden unease. That low drop in the stomach when blood magic's in the air. The ground below us trembled. Where are we? And I grabbed the crates, adjusting my stance for balance. Then, as quick as it started, the shaking stopped. There wasn't time to think. I stepped from behind the crates and began weaving a spell to hold the figure in place. Their limbs began to slow as my magic took hold, and for a second I let myself think I had them. But their hands were wet with Quinton's blood. The figure's fists snapped shut as they drew on Quinton's vitals to push back. The speed and force of my spell collapsing staggered me. I pulled myself up, ready to counter their next attack, but that's not what I got. The figure was already running down the docks. I flung out an arm, attempting to slow their escape, but I was still off guard and the magic went wide. My one leg may be dwarven crafted metal below the knee, but that doesn't keep me out of a chase. I was prepared to follow, but Quinton groaned. A glance in his direction was all it took. When I looked back, the masked figure had gotten away. Quinton had gotten away from me too. There was too much blood, and too much had already sunk into the cobblestones. I knelt beside him and hovered a hand near the dagger at his neck. I noticed the gold chain was gone. The figure must have taken it. His eyes widened as the chill of my magic slowed his bleeding. I couldn't stop it, but I could numb the pain and let him let him talk a little longer.
What happened?
I asked.
What were you doing here?
I was out.
He managed.
How did you...
Your uncle.
I said. It was enough for him to get the idea.
I'm not Venatori.
He said. Then again, if he cared what I thought.
I was going to... I'm not with them.
Sure.
I said. He reached up and grabbed my sleeve with more strength than I thought he had left.
It's almost the hour.
Quinton said. The words sounded forced, as if they pained him more than the knife. His hand sang back.
What hour?
I asked, but he didn't say.
I wasn't with anymore. I'm sorry. Who?
He knew what came next. He was searching for whatever company he had left.
Nev.
I said. My name was the last thing he heard. What remained of the night didn't pick up from there. After Quinton left me, I quickly searched the nearby alleys. I'd no hope the masked figure had stuck around, but I found an elf asleep under a tarnished coat. I nudged him gently, but he jumped out of his skin all the same, muttering that the boss let him sleep there, then falling silent at the sight of Quinton's blood on my clothes. He'd seen nothing, of course, but he'd get word to the Templars for some coin, and I promised he wouldn't be in trouble. I returned home for a change of clothes and not enough rest, before heading to Otto Caller's manor, a residence nowhere near the third-rate bookseller where I rent a room. From what I'd known of Quinton Caller, he'd been a grateful and devoted nephew. Quiet most of the time, but loud when it came to Minrathous' anti-slavery movement. A man putting the mistakes of his past behind him and trying to be better. So, what had happened? Otakala didn't care. The man was taking breakfast by the time I turned up at his ornately carved door. He greeted me with a dismissive young lady that made me think he'd forgotten my name. No matter what Quinton said in the end, his meeting with the robed figure was enough for Otto. Quinton was up to something unsavoury, whether it was with the Venatori or not, and he'd wash his hands of it now. As far as Otto was concerned, my work was done, and he didn't know or want to know about people in bronze masks. I left Otto staring out of the window for an over-large sitting room. The Templars knew about the attack. This was their job now, and I could let them have it. I'm sure Quinton's uncle sent coin right after, telling the Templars to keep the Carla name out of it. A bad night had turned into a bad morning, so I shouldn't have been surprised when the Templars turned up, or that they'd be more than the usual annoyance. Minrathous isn't like the South, where Templars control mages. Tevinter loves its magic, especially in Minrathous. Here, Templars only act when magic's used outside the law, except in special cases when the mage-based Justicars step in, or when the right bribe makes a case special to them. If a job doesn't need Justicar attention, or they want to consult a mage without being walked over, the Templars hire outside assistants. It's a job I'd taken a few times before finding more than a few jobs of my own. Working on my own doesn't pay as well as the Templars, but I prefer it that way. Knight Templar Rana Sava's armour was shined like prized silverware, and her dark hair wouldn't dare escape its perfect braid. She caught up to me outside my room just as I was returning home for the second time that morning.
I told your Knight Captain, I'm not looking for Templar work.
Quentin Kala died last night.
Rana said.
Funny, I heard that too. In fact, I believe I sent your people word of it.
There's whispers he was Venatori. If that's true, he's not the only dead cultist this morning. Lady Verantis.
Don't say murdered,
Murdered.
she said. 2 in one night. I repressed a sigh, thinking of the sleep waiting for me inside, and leaned against the door.
Someone's after Venatori.
It could be.
Rana began, but what was the point?
It's not a coincidence.
I said.
No.
Rana agreed.
A person in a bronze mask was seen in the street. The timing works out.
I'd gone looking for the truth about one man I could handle. I hadn't gone looking for conspiracies. Then again, I'd gone looking for possible Venatori. What did I expect?
Knight Captain Jarvis would like your opinion on any similarities between Kala and Lady Verantis.
Rana said. She sounded official, but looked as happy to invite me along as I was to work with the Templars. I smiled.
You don't think I'll help?
From what I heard, you watched the murderer run away.
She said. I adjusted the cuffs of my coat.
People walk away from worse crimes than Minrathous.
You're not under orders.
I could have let it go. The job had been simple. Find out what Quinton Carla was doing. According to his uncle, I had an answer. Or enough of one. But I'd watched the murderer run. I'd watched Quinton die. And I didn't know the reason for it. It wasn't the most satisfying ending. And it wasn't one I wanted to live with.
After you.
I said. If you want to know where the money is in Minrathous, look to the oldest mage families. Lady Verantis came from an old family. The floor-to-ceiling windows in her personal study was covered in Orlesian silk. A large marble snake with gold-plated eyes sat coiled in the entrance. The chandelier overhead was excessive, and far too heavy to hang naturally. It's the sort of enchantment you expect in these old houses. The sort meant to impress while everyone ignores that someone's great-grandfather used blood magic to put it there. The lady herself lay face down in front of a finely carved desk in the centre of the room. Scrolls, inkwells, and a small onyx bookend were thrown across the floor. Charm marks on the doorframe and acidic gouges in the desk suggested a struggle between mages, but it was also a deep gash in Lady Verantis' neck. Lovely. Rana snapped a salute as we entered. Knight Captain Jarvis stood on the other side of the desk, all patched up armour and sleep-deprived glares in front of an expensive marble fireplace. I sympathised. My family has more Templars than mages. I'm sure that says a lot about me. The point is, I'm not from an old family, and I felt as at home in Lady Verantis' house as Jarvis looked.
You're bothering to help.
Jarvis said, and there went the sympathy.
You wouldn't ask if you didn't need it.
I said sweetly. Jarvis chose to move on.
We suspected Lady Verantis was Venatori for years. Knew she was up to something while their god was running around, but we couldn't get close. Got proof now for all the good it does.
Then to another Templar with massive arms and a smack of freckles, he said,
Brom, read the stuff. Don't just toss it around.
Brom let out a sigh and continued sifting through Lady Verantis' personal correspondence.
I'd heard of her.
I said, moving to stand next to the woman in question.
Lady Verantis. People said she'd become charitable in the last few years.
Who knows why the Venatori do anything?
Brom muttered, adding a lace-adorned wedding invitation to the unsteady pile. The polished floorboards beneath Lady Verantis' body were stained black.
Quentin Callow was stabbed too.
I said.
The attacker was a mage. Why get that close?
Jarvis asked, moving from the desk for another look at the body.
Maybe she didn't give them a choice. Maybe they wanted to catch her by surprise.
I suggested.
Or maybe they needed to.
Blood magic?
Rana asked, and all three Templars looked to me. Blood magic has a nasty habit of thinning the veil between our world and the Fade. I closed my eyes and reached for a small amount of magic, sensing how it would react. I came too readily, flowing too fast from the other side. The veil in Lady Verantis' house was thin. Some places are just like that. For this to be one of them would have been too convenient.
Yes, but why here?
I gestured vaguely to our rich, if battle-scarred, surroundings.
If the killer needs blood alone, there are less obvious sources than Lady Verantis. If they want Venatori, what ritual are they performing with them?
Nothing good.
Jarvis said.
Our best guess is still an anti-cult crusader. Using blood magic against them could be their form of punishment.
Hey, if someone's killing Venatori, that's fewer problems for us.
Brom said.
It's not against the law to be a cultist.
Jarvis said.
Depends what you do with it.
Brom muttered.
Sacrificing people is...
Jarvis continued. Brom barely hid the scoff, but he didn't talk back.
Whoever they're after, this mage thinks they can get away with murder.
Rana said.
And that we're useless.
I bit the urge to say, aren't you? I looked at Lady Verantis. Her hair had half fallen from an elaborate bun, but the back of her pale neck was visible. A thin line of bruising arched across the exposed skin, suggesting a fine chain once sat there, one that had been forcibly removed. I bet Quentin Carla had the same marks.
So, they're a thief.
Brom said when I pointed it out. Rana picked up a heavy coin purse and tossed it at Brom.
Nothing else was taken.
I'll ask around.
I said.
If I find anything, I'll let you know.
Jarvis looked unimpressed.
I thought you weren't interested in Templar work.
Oh, I'm not.
I said.
I'm finishing the work I started.
To punctuate the day I was having, a cold drizzle met me at the door. I watched my footing as I made my way down Lady Verantus' front stairs. The telltale tapping of rain on metal sounded as Rana followed me outside.
We have the known contacts and relatives of Lady Verantus.
I'm sure you do.
I said.
And good luck getting anything from them.
It's standard practice to start there.
Rana said.
Standard practice isn't my top concern. You're stunned, I know.
Is that why you don't like working with Templars?
Rana asked, a hint of triumph in her voice, as if she'd caught me at something.
No,
I said casually.
that's not why.
Her brow furrowed, and a light scowl touched her lips. She wasn't ready to drop it just yet.
Do you have anything more on Kala?
I smiled.
I'll find something.
If the world was fair, I would have found something right away to prove a point. But I spent the rest of the day speaking to dock workers who'd heard the Kala name, of course, but didn't know Quinton himself. If someone was seeking venatory jewellery, the best fence this end of the Imperial Highway hadn't heard of it. If someone in a bronze mask had been lurking around, the night guard hadn't seen them. He hadn't seen me, or Quinton either, so I shouldn't have been surprised there. As I was returning from the docks, I saw a venatory street prophet on the corner. His robes were clean, if faded, his hair neatly combed. He paced back and forth, trying and failing to make eye contact with the people walking by. He held a piece of paper in his hand that no one took. Is this me? 1 second. Yes, this is me. Okay. Tevinter was glorious, he said. Look at Minrathous. Now, are we content? Our gods would see us lifted. We can still do so. Corypheus's machinations live on in us. The prophet raised his voice over the noise. The grunts and curses of sweet-soaked labourers hauling goods from the docks, the impatient chatter of errand runners, food sellers pushing fried dough, the sharp rattle of coin against metal as a man in stained soldier's clothes tried for sympathy. No one looked at the soldier. No one looked at the prophet either, although maybe more liked his idea than we were willing to admit. Even I wanted a better Minrathous. But the Venatori? The cult's dead god wanted to bring Tevinter back to what it was, to its glory. It was nonsense, of course. It always was. The old empire was even more corrupt and heartless than what it is now, no matter how pretty the picture Corypheus painted. As the prophet continued his speech, I wondered what had Quinton and Lady Verantus a target and not him. It seemed a necklace had marked them as victims. But what made the jewellery special? And why did they both have one in the first place? I needed answers, and I was running out of ideas. Even my best source of information, Elik Tavor, didn't have much. The man was a con artist I'd turned in the year before. To be fair, he'd nearly gotten me killed the year before that, so we were even.
There's not much to say.
Elik said when I met him at Lamplighter at sunset, a tavern 3 streets too far to be in the nicer part of the city, a place known for the bronze lanterns over its tables and its tight lips of its barkeep. The silent dwarf smacked a pair of drinks in front of us before being hailed by a group of dirt-smeared men who needed a drink before they were caught at it. A couple with Antivan accents continued a whispered conversation in the corner.
I don't know who Keller thought he was meeting with at the docks.
Elik continued.
But I know why. He turned up a few times, asked about false papers, places to buy horses or hire a boat with no noticing, that sort of thing.
For how many?
Just one.
I slid a few coins across the table.
Stay out of trouble, Elik.
Alec tossed one of the coins back.
Wasn't worth that much. Supper's on me.
I took the coin to the best place at any hour, a tiny stall in the lower market run by a man named Halos. You! Barked Halos as I approached, dropping a piece of fish into the sizzling oil without asking. He held out a hand for payment. This fish won't eat itself.
Then you're lucky I'm here.
You'd starve without me. Halos wiped his hands on an oil-spotted apron and handed me the food, salty, piping hot, and perfect as always. He turned to the next person in line and began frying up another piece of fish. I ate as I walked, my mind stuck on the day and the night before. Alec hadn't told me much, but what he had said, but what he'd said bothered me. Quentin had been trying to get a single person out of the city. It might have been connected to the anti-slavery movement, or it may have been for himself. Quentin hadn't been caught by surprise. Not entirely. He'd expected someone at the docks. He wanted to leave a message with the others. The way he'd toyed at the chain around his neck, he'd known something was coming. Had Lady Verantis known too? From the look of her study, she'd put up a fight. Had the two spoken beforehand? Had something else warned them?
Nev Gallus.
The voice was low and urgent. The shadowed streets were starting to empty, but still bustled with people heading home for the day, and those who didn't plan on going home at all. I turned, trying to pinpoint the source of the voice, and caught sight of a man staring at me from a tired shrine of Razakale. The statue's features were worn away at the feet, and the tip of one outstretched wing was chipped. The man gave a nervous jerk of his head before ducking back into the dragon's shadow.
Nev Gallus.
The man said again as I followed him behind the shrine. His eyes were bloodshot, and he didn't know how to hold his arms, crossing and uncrossing them again. His robes were well made, with gold threading at the cuffs. The silver egret pin at his throat bobbed and shook as much as he did.
You've been asking after Quentin Calla.
He said.
You've seen Lady Verantis as well.
Do you know something?
The sound he made was more a yelp than a laugh.
They're dead.
Well, aren't you insightful?
When the man didn't respond, I made to go.
If we've exhausted your knowledge, I'd like to finish my supper. If I'm lucky, maybe get a good night's sleep when I'm done.
The hour is coming.
He choked out, then gave another yelping laugh. I could hear Quentin's voice echoed in his words. Smell the blood pooled on wet cobblestones. He had my attention.
What's the hour? What do you know?
The man shook his head.
Paxus was killed last week. No one noticed that one. Well, almost no one.
This Paxus. Venatori?
I asked.
Yes.
The night before, Quentin Calla had been my only problem. The day had brought me Templars and Lady Verantis. Now I had this strange man and another dead cultist. One problem at a time. That's how I preferred it. I may have been better off walking away.
Do you want to know what Ayala took?
He'd changed tacks again, this time emphasizing the new direction by shoving a round clay disc into my hands, although he kept hold of the chain attached to it.
Aelia's the one who killed them.
The man nodded.
They all had one. You can keep it. If it helps you, all the better.
I tugged on the chain, but despite his words, the man didn't want to let go.
What is this?
I pressed.
What is the hour?
People can surprise you. In Minrathous, those surprises tend more towards, surprise, your aunt's a blood mage, than, I brought you flowers. The man trembling in Razakil's shadow surprised me by summoning an arcane flash of light instead of an answer. I cursed more at myself than at him. By the time I could see, the man was gone, and the remains of my fried fish lay on the ground. My stomach and head argued over which was more upsetting. He'd left me the necklace. The clay seal fit into the palm of my hand, and was seated in a polished black shell attached to a gold chain. A long, thin dragon with 4 wings was etched on the front, rising from a dark sea. I'd run into the Venatori before, but never seen anything like this. I could sense an enchantment on the thing, but could tell what it was for. Whatever it was, but couldn't tell what it was for. Whatever it was, Quentin Carla had died for it. So had Lady Verantis and Paxis, whoever he was. It was more than I'd known that morning, and at the same time, it meant nothing. I still didn't know why. I tracked Rana down outside Templar quarters the next morning. I could count the hours of sleep I'd had over the last 2 days on one hand, but I'd said I'd tell the Templars if I found anything, and here I was.
You have something.
Rana said without preamble.
Good morning, Knight Templar Service.
I handed her the necklace.
I don't know what this means, but whoever's after Venatori, they want these ones in particular.
A specific chapter in the cult?
Rana wondered. It had been my first thought too.
Maybe they wronged our killer.
I suggested. Rana ran a thumb over the 4-winged dragon.
I've seen this.
What? Where?
Carved in the corner of Lady Verantis' mantelpiece. We need to go back. Now that we know what to look for, we might find what it means.
Rana said, with more can-do attitude than I thought Templars were allowed. And I was right.
The matter with Lady Verantis is resolved, and our presence is no longer required.
Knight Captain Jarvis's delivery said what he thought of the words even as he quoted them. We were crammed into the room he'd given in the Jetstone building next to the Circle of Magi. The tight quarters weren't cheering anyone's mood.
But we have something.
Rana said.
The Verantis family is grateful to the Templars for stepping in and sorry their mother took her own life. They'll handle arrangements from here.
Jarvis continued his quotation. Behind him, Brom let out a
Derisive.
Thank you. Bram let out a derisive snort.
Took her own life?
Rana protested.
The spell marks, the signs of struggle. Historical damage, or their mother's final madness. Take your pick.
Jarvis said.
The Verantis family apologizes.
Etc., etc.
Brom added.
Verantis family is scared you'll find more Venatori among them.
I said mildly. This is Minrathous. None of this was surprising.
You know that. I know that. They're also friends with a Justicar. He's stepped in personally, with the Knight Commander's full support.
Jarvis said.
If we go to them with this...
Rana pointed at the necklace.
And only that...
Jarvis said.
The Verantis family will bury it.
Or your Knight Commander will for them.
I murmured.
Savas, you have orders.
Jarvis said, then turned to me.
Nev, don't push the Verantis family. I'm working on it, but we need another way around.
I held up my hands in a show of innocence and left the Templars to their cramped office. I crossed back over the worn hallways, through the front door, and into the noise and hurry of the Circle District. Magisters and scholars rushed to and from the looming tower, a string of flustered aides and apprentices trailing behind them. For the second time in 2 days, I'd been given an excuse to stop. If I'd walked away, no one would have cared. Let's be honest, no one would have noticed in the first place. I could have gone home, but I didn't.
You going?
Rana asked.
It's very polite, but you don't need to walk me out every time.
I said.
Nev.
Rana repeated.
Nowhere near the Verantis family.
I said.
That's your problem. I'm still looking into Kala,
I looked at the necklace.
and this is still useful.
And the killer's still a mage.
Rana said.
That makes him our responsibility. We should be the ones looking into that. The Knight Commander said to wait.
If I remember right, I'm not under orders.
By rights, I can seize that.
Rana said.
Or we could consider it yours now, and I can promise to return it to you when I'm done.
Rana didn't look happy, but she didn't argue either. I took the necklace into a pouch at my waist. Rana went back inside and followed orders. There's a shop down a side street of the lower market. At night, the entire narrow stretch is only lit by a few braziers, and even during the day, it's dim. Not that anyone goes there during the day. The shop itself doesn't unbolt the doors until past noon, and for the man who looks at objects you don't want people to know about, you need to come later than that. Oh, silly. What do you have? The man asked before I could say what I wanted. I didn't know his name. If he knew mine, he pretended not to.
Maybe I'm looking for something.
I said. The man raised an eyebrow. Not the right look. What do you have? I placed the necklace on the scarred wooden table. The man scooped it up. I could feel his magic reaching to unlock the nature of the four-winged dragon's enchantment. Blood magic, he said.
Yes, I've gathered that.
No, not like this. Not since Corypheus.
What does...
But I didn't get to finish the question. Get out, he said, slamming the seal back to the table and shoving it towards me.
Wait, what is...
I tried again, but he wasn't having it. I don't know. I don't care. I never saw it. A moment later, I was back on the street. The man in the shop had seen a lot of things. Worse than I could imagine, I'm sure. But this had him scared. And if he was afraid to talk, who else would? I was running out of options. There was one other person who knew about the necklace. The question was, could I track him down in time? When I turned down the narrow street that led from the shop to the lower market, the figure in the bronze mask was waiting for me. On instinct, I fired off a blast of ice, but of course, they'd been expecting me. The figure dodged sideways, avoiding the attack, and charged forward. Drawing a dagger, they ducked low and swiped at me with the long blade. The steel glanced off my metal calf, and the figure spun away. I could thank dwarven craftsmanship for the lack of damage, but it was a lucky enough miss for me, and a mistake they wouldn't make twice. We stood for a moment, staring at each other.
You have the seal.
The voice was thick with hatred.
Aelia?
I asked. She laughed softly. The mask's expression remained the same. I didn't care for the effect.
I'm not Venatori.
I said.
None of them were.
A dark wave of energy sped my way, but this time I was faster. I dodged and thrust my arm upward, encouraging the spear of ice I created at her feet to follow suit. Aelia moved, but not fast enough. The ice caught her in the side and she stumbled. An opening. I willed the air around her to slow and then released it. The change in momentum threw her off course and she crashed into the pitted brick of a run-down tenement. Straightening, Aelia threw the mask from her face, revealing short red hair and a look even angrier than I'd expected. The mask hit the opposite wall with a clang. A distraction, and for the split second it needed to, it worked. Aelia's other hand still held the dagger. As she returned the hand that had thrown the mask, she made the slice across her palm. I felt lightheaded as she began to drain my energy. Aelia clenched her fist, draining more power from herself, and I stumbled into the wall where the mask had fallen. She came in fast with her dagger and threw up an arm to block the worst of it. She twisted the blade in her hand, cutting into my muscle, but at least it wasn't my neck. Still, I cried out. I felt a tug at my waist as she pulled away the pouch that held the necklace.
Our lives for the glory of Tevinter reborn.
You're Venatori.
I said.
Why?
Minrathous has forgotten his ways.
Aelia said.
It falls to us to put it right, to make it rise.
I gasped as Aelia, Aelia? Yeah. I grasped as Aelia pressed the seal to my injured arm. Her other hand held the dagger to my throat. I felt dizzy again, from the pain, or her magic, or the blood loss. I didn't know.
The traitor's blood would have been justice. Yours and mine will do.
I could feel her channeling magic into the necklace, draining power from me to help unfold its enchantment. With a sharp snap, the seal broke and the ground below us heavied. A giddy smile crossed her face. My throat would have been slit next, but her pause was enough. With an effort, I cast a blast of wind, knocking her from me. The dagger skittered across the cobblestones. I let an array of ice crystals form in the air around me. I doubted I could throw them with any accuracy, but she just needed to buy the bluff. Aelia kept her distance.
The hour is here. Live the last of yours. Consider it gratitude for your service.
I let her footsteps disappear before sliding down the wall. The ice crystals fell to the ground around me. I needed to stop the bleeding. Drawing the magic took effort. I'm not a healer, but I can patch up a wound well enough. I slowed the blood flow, tore off the sleeves of my blouse, and wrapped the wound as best I could. It wasn't pretty, but it would last the hour. The man in the shop may not have talked, but there was another person who knew about the necklace, or the seal, as Aelia had called it, and I had him cornered. His trunk lay behind us where he dropped it in the street, and his back was to me. I kept hold of the magic, keeping him there.
How did you find me?
Flavian Bataris asked. The silver egret pin bobbed nervously at his throat, just as it had the last time we'd met. His name, along with the name of the boat he'd hired, had cost me the rest of the evening and enough coin for a week's worth of fish dinners.
People who scurry around the lower market after dark don't wear gold-embroidered robes.
I walked carefully around him until we were face to face, then pointed to the silver egret.
And they don't advertise themselves with a family crest.
Flavian flushed. It was an embarrassing error, though maybe not the one he regretted most. I held up half of the four-winged dragon so he could get a good look. Aelia had taken off with the rest of the necklace.
You failed to get me killed.
I said calmly.
That wasn't the point.
Flavian said.
I was getting rid of it.
And you let your people and you let the right people know you no longer had it.
I said. If Flavian was capable of remorse, he wasn't wasting any of it on me.
Someone was going to die. If that's broken, then most of Minrathous will. That included you anyway. Or you might have stopped Aelia. Between the two of us, you had a better chance.
I dropped the magic holding Flavian in place. Flavian folded his arms, then unfolded them, then clasped his hands.
You didn't like my odds against Aelia.
I said. Flavian eyed my arm.
Was I wrong? Besides, I don't like anyone's.
As if in support, a tremble shook the ground beneath us. A young couple by the pier pulled apart, looking around in confusion, then went back to it.
What are the necklaces for?
I asked.
Corypheus wanted Tevinter reborn.
Flavian said.
He trusted Minrathous to be the jewel of his new world. He planned to return here after his victory in the south.
What are they for, Flavian?
I said.
There's a demon sealed beneath the city. If it's let out...
He made a dismissive gesture, as if tossing Minrathous aside.
Corypheus would rebuild. That was the plan.
Minrathous has defeated demons before.
I said.
Not like this.
Flavian said.
I'm not even sure demon's the right word. It's something only a god could summon.
At the look on my face, he added.
If not a god, Corypheus was close enough.
Another tremble shook below us, and I took a step to steady myself. People along the docks were starting to look worried now. I saw a man run toward one of the storehouses. The young couple hurried away.
Keep going.
I said.
Each of us held the seals to its prison. Bloodbound, we couldn't speak of them. The death of the others was the only thing that could shock me into giving mine away.
Control that subtle for that long. Unless someone actively renewed the hold, it's not possible.
Corypheus was close enough.
Flavian said.
If Minrathous wasn't ready to kneel, the demon would make sure it did. The hour of Minrathous' return.
Corypheus is dead.
I said.
And the plan as well. Until Aelia took over, the Venatori still want the Tevinter Corypheus promised, whether he's around for it or not. All she needed were the seals.
Not all of you agreed.
I said.
Lady Veranthus was one of Corypheus's most devout. After his fall, she had a crisis of conscience. Her devotion to charity and the chantry? Sincere, if it also answers to guilt. Paxis? I think he just wanted to be in charge of Aelia.
And what about you?
I asked. A weak grin spread over Flavian's face.
I've been a worse person. I'll settle for dying a bad one. Or, better yet, living elsewhere.
And Quentin?
Flavian let out that yelp of a laugh.
Calla. He was barely one of us to begin with. He was told the Venatori would end slavery. When he found out the rest, a few threats to his family kept him in line long enough. He was only bound to a seal because manipulating the Calla family was useful at the time. In the end, I suspect he was sending information to the Inquisition. By then, I preferred the idea of living over Corypheus's plans.
There it was. I had my answer. Who Quentin Calla had been and why he died. Flavian moved to pick up his trunk, then swore as I froze him in place again.
Aelia won't wait. The hour's here. If you let me go, we can both leave. I'll pay your way out.
Where is she?
It's already started.
He said, trying to track me with his eyes while his limbs remained in place. When I didn't respond, he gave up on me.
Lie how you want. The catacombs, one of the hidden ones. There's more than one entrance. The only one I knew was in Lady Veranthus' study.
I released a spell, and Flavian grabbed his trunk and began hauling it down to the docks. It broke halfway to the pier, and he left it, running towards his way out. Knight Templar Rana Savas had not expected me to turn up at her rooms in the Templar quarters after dark, or for me to be covered in blood when I did. I'd done enough to patch the injury, but my coat was still stained from Aelia's attack. I held up half of a 4-winged dragon.
Worse for wear, I admit, but you can't say I didn't give it back.
What happened?
She took the broken seal firmly even as she checked my arm. Leave it to Rana Savas to show concern and confiscate Templar-claimed property at the same time. It's a gift.
The killer's Venatori.
I said and filled her in on an evening that already felt too long.
We need to move.
Rana said. She wasn't wrong, and I was ready. But then,
Something this big, the Knight Commander needs to know. I'll inform him straight away.
I don't know what I expected from Rana. That's not true. I had known exactly what to expect, and it was this, and like a fool, I was frustrated anyway.
The hour's now, Rana.
I said.
Yes, that's why.
You'll tell the Knight Commander, and he'll consult his friend, the Justicar, and will wait until morning while they check in with the Verantis family.
I said.
The city could shake down around them, and they'll jump through the same hoops. That's if we're lucky, and they don't already know where the family's hiding.
Don't know that.
Rana said, but she was contradicting me more than she was defending her commander.
Do you want to know why I don't like working with Templars? It's not your rules or your sense of fair play. It's because there are people like you and Jarvis who try, or you want to. And too many times out of 10, it's the wrong coin in the right hands that makes you stop.
That's not what this is.
Rana said. Then why didn't I answer?
If that's what you think, why did you come here?
I sighed.
Maybe I hoped this would be one of the few times out of 10. Mostly, so when it's too late, someone I trust will know what went wrong. If what Flavian said is true, you'll need the head start.
Someone will listen. We need to organize.
I shook my head. What else was there to say?
How far can you get on your own?
Rana asked.
I don't know.
I said. My arm was sore. Everything was sore. My head begged for sleep.
But when I get there, I'll know it's as far as I could.
For once, she didn't follow me outside. I left Rana standing in her doorway and headed back into the night. The Knight Commander had posted his own men outside Lady Verantis' house. He claimed the Verantis family was worried about thieves stealing their inheritance before they had it sorted. More likely, they wanted to keep people out until they burned evidence of any Venatori connections. Whether they believed the claims or didn't care about the truth, the guards outside weren't expecting trouble. Only one was posted by the back entrance, and once distracted by a convenient noise, he didn't see anyone slip inside. Lady Verantis had been removed from the study and the floor cleaned, but some vague sense of superstition made me skirt the last place I'd seen her anywhere. The large marble snake shone in the moonlight, the gold plate eyes disinterested in my visit. I reached the fireplace and quickly scanned the stone beneath the mantel. On the far right end was a carving of a 4-winged dragon, just as Rana had said. I gave the stone a slight push, felt the give, and pushed harder. I heard a faint click, and a stairway opened in front of the empty fireplace, leading down to the catacombs below. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding, and carefully made my way down. The streets of Minrathous are never truly empty, even the ones that run underground. The catacombs are as ancient as Minrathous itself. Officially, they're for storage, a place to hold a year's worth of food and supplies, securing the city's survival in case of blight or Qunari invasion. Unofficially, they hold as many shady corners, forgotten places, and dark secrets as you'd expect. Pale blue wisp lights had been lit along the underground passage, dim but enough for me to move without creating a light of my own. The high ceilings disappeared into the shadows above. The walls were largely plain, though even here there were echoes of the ornamentation found on the buildings above. A pillar carved like a dragon, a fresco meant for almost no one to see. A faint vibration rang through the ground beneath me, and I stopped admiring the art. It wasn't long before I could make out the flicker of orange light up ahead. A voice echoed back to me off the stone walls. Another vibration ran through the ground, and I felt a strange buzzing in my head. It was thick with a feeling I couldn't understand, and an expansive need for emptiness.
Orpheus's fall was a test.
Came Aelia's voice. She sounded strained, but no less resolute for it.
Would we surrender to winter as well? Deny it a chance to rise? What is our answer?
Ooh, should I? Oh, the answer came from...
All of us together, but that would be sad.
Our lives for the glory of the
Tevinter
Reborn!
Reborn! The answer came from more voices. Yeah. The answer came from more voices than I could take alone. I moved towards the light, ignoring the sick feeling in the back of my head. I pulled myself behind a pillar before getting too close and took in the scene in front of me.
The seals are broken.
Aelia said.
The traitors could not escape their blood debt. The loyal paid with their own and will be rewarded. We reach the hour of Minrathous' return.
A small crowd of Venatori, 30 or so, stood in front of Aelia. I could see now why her voice was strained. It appeared breaking the seals was only the start of the ritual. If this had been Corypheus' plan, and the demon was as bad as Flavian claimed, there was a fair chance the final steps were meant for a god or whatever he had been. That hadn't stopped Aelia. A bleeding Venatori lay slouched at her feet, as his arms limply held up to hers, his skin an unlively grey. Aelia herself was focusing all her power into a large stone obelisk. It rose the full height of the catacomb, and there were deep cracks in the stone at its base. Below the obelisk, a shadow moved at odds with the lights that cast it. Looking at it caused the buzz in my head to grow louder. Whatever I was looking at, it was the edge of something deeper. If this was a demon at all, it was older and larger and more nameless than any demon I'd ever heard of, and so much worse besides. If that thing rose, there wouldn't be a Minrathous left. I cursed under my breath. What did I think I was going to do? If I'd stayed away, I would die with everyone else. But I could have done so in bed, maybe with a good book or a nice supper. But since I was here, the man at Aelia's feet was already dead, moving fast. I hit him with a snap of cold magic. Aelia let out a yell of frustration as the source of her power literally froze up. She caught sight of me at once, but held her place by the obelisk. Going after me would mean dropping the ritual, and she loved her false god and warped dreams more than she hated me. Still, I'd slowed her down.
Bring her here!
Aelia yelled, which turned out lucky for me. Limited to attacks of the non-lethal variety, I managed to hold back the first set of attackers. A frost slick on the catacomb's stone floor sent several Venatori reeling, while another found himself pinned in ice. Focusing, I pulled out the air around the cultists, slowing them down, but there were 30 of them and only one of me, and I couldn't last forever. In the end, 2 Venatori caught me and dragged me toward the stone obelisk.
Minrathous is broken.
Aelia said, as her followers held me at her side. The shadow pulsed uncomfortably close. I didn't think it could hurt me yet, but I twisted away from it all the same. Minrathous buried people every day. It closed its eyes and pretended they didn't exist. That the power grabs and politics weren't tearing it down, and it was about to be torn down for it. I was starting to regret not having that nice bed and supper again, when I caught a glimpse of movement just outside the ring of light. Knight Templar Rana Savis. Scanning along the shadows now, I caught Knight Captain Jahavis's eye. He gave me a curt nod. To his left, Brom was making his way to the far side of the circle. People will surprise you. All 3 Templars were carrying enchanted weapons designed to subdue mages. Swords for Javis and Rana, and a heavy mace for Brom. The weapons looked almost ordinary, but I could see the faint shine of fade-touched metal, and knew they'd be marked with the circled seal. In keeping the mages happy, Minrathous Templars need to be assigned those weapons for specific and approved circumstances only. I had a feeling Knight Captain Jarvis had skipped that part. Aelia tilted her head toward me, and I lowered my eyes, not wanting to give the Templars away before they were ready.
You do know that whatever you're raising...
I began.
Minrathous salvation.
Aelia's voice was even more strained than before. Without blood to fuel her, she was having trouble maintaining the ritual on her own.
Sure, that.
I said.
There's no way you can control it.
It will fulfill its purpose.
Aelia said.
Minrathous will return to its former glory.
Did it have glory?
I asked. If she hadn't needed to focus on the ritual, I'm fairly certain I'd be dead for that. Another tremor ran through the catacombs. Dust shook from the ceiling, and the shadow pulsed farther outward. Whatever it was, it didn't care about glory or anything like that.
You and I shattered the seal.
Aelia said.
You and I can finish this.
She drew a knife from her waist and handed it to one of the Venatori holding me.
Better people than you or I will do that.
I said. A beam of light directed from Rana's sword struck the crowd, paralyzing anyone it hit. Those that could still move rushed to defend themselves from their new attackers. Distracted, one of the Venatori holding me loosened his grip, and his friend met the full force of my newly freed fist. I brought my elbow back hard, hitting the first Venatori square in the stomach, before pushing them both back with a blast of ice. The shadow heaved as the Templar fought the Venatori. It was darker now, thicker too, but still formless. I saw a steel-haired Venatori stumble near the writhing darkness, before he could straighten back up. The shadow was wrapped around his wrists. The cultist jerked to his knees, his body convulsed. Silence fell suddenly on both sides, broken by the screams of the old man as he sunk from view. If I'd thought there'd be chaos before, I was wrong. Some Venatori continued to fight, others ran. I saw Brom lose his balance as the earth trembled again. Pardon me. He hit the ground with a metal clang and was swarmed by a trio of Venatori. Before I could move, a beam of light shot from his mace, knocking his attackers back and sending another cultist into the shadow. Bram rose awkwardly to his feet. One arm limp by his side, his movements hampered by whatever magic the Venatori had cast at him. I saw Rana race toward him, stopping the large Templar from being pulled into the shadow himself. Through it all, Aelia had not broken the ritual. There was fresh blood on her arm. She'd taken on fueling the magic alone. I crossed the space between us and grabbed her by the wrist. She tried to shake me off, but I hung on, concentrating on slowing her bleeding, patching her wounds just enough.
You won't.
But before she could finish, I punched her in the face. Aelia stumbled backward and the connection broke. I'm sorry, I see shake me off and now I see the next word swift. I'm thinking here, is Brianna Batty a Swiftie? Anyway, the swift disruption of the ritual knocked us both back. Aelia screamed as she realised the shadow was gone. I sent a wall of ice up and over the obelisk. It wouldn't hold back disaster on its own, but it was enough to hold secure until the Justicars sent experts smarter than me to deal with it. Rana joined us and dragged Aelia to her feet.
Telling the Knight Commander went well after all.
I said dryly.
It will.
Rana said, and she sounded both thrilled and appalled by the rule bending that had brought her here.
We weren't looking into Lady Verantis.
Knight Captain Jarvis said.
We were tracking down a missing mage, Nev Gallus.
My smile was sincere. He looked tired, and I was feeling sympathetic.
Good work here tonight.
Jarvis said to his Templars. Rana smiled. Brom just shrugged. Of the two, I sided with Brom. I knew what would happen next. The demon, or whatever it was, would be sealed. No one would talk about it because doing so would admit the Venatori still had too much power. Some of the Venatori would face their crimes. Others would claim they were victims of blood magic control. The other ones, the ones who had money, would find that it was enough of an excuse. It was still dark when we left the catacombs. The city was hushed, if hardly sleeping, with no idea what had happened.
Minrathous is broken.
Aelia spat at me.
I know,
I said.
but you aren't the one to fix it.
I left Aelia to the Templars. I wanted sleep more than anything. But there was one more stop I had to make. If Rana Savas had been surprised to see me at her door in the middle of the night, Ottokala was baffled to find me at just before sunrise the next morning, and more than a little annoyed to be woken by a servant to see me.
What do you want?
He said, then caught sight of my blood-stained coat and dust-filled hair.
Vinhithis, if you've brought trouble. For what it's worth, you weren't wrong to give Quentin a second chance.
I said.
He'd left the Venatori. There's nothing unsavory in his last days either.
Otto ran a tired hand over his face.
Doesn't matter now. It might to you. That's your decision. You wanted the truth, you have it. I already paid you.
He said, but I was already leaving.
I know.
I heard the heavy door to the Carla house start to creak close behind me, then pause.
Why didn't he just tell me?
Otto called after me, but the plea in his voice was for someone already dead. I paused, resting a hand on the carved dragon at Otto's front gate. Morning light was starting to push through the city. People already moving through the street in front of me, ready to start the day. Why hadn't Quentin told him? The easy answer was he couldn't. But had he wanted to? Had he tried? Did it matter?
I don't know.
I said, and walked away. Woo!
Wow!
Yeah!
Fantastic.
Well done,
job.
everyone.
Fantastic.
That was
Oh
great.
my lord. Voices were spot on. The versatility. Oh my goodness. Much, much love. Haven, you were a fantastic Nev. Bloody hell.
Thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
honestly.
That was great. I loved
Sounded
the
very
accent.
close to
So
how I
good.
remember her
All
actually
the
sounded.
D&D has trained me for this moment. It
It
really
was
has.
so impressive to have it. Like,
Very impressive. Flipping
Yeah.
it. Like, you could have fooled me as a Brit instantly.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
really,
honestly.
I was so impressed.
was
I was
fantastic.
like, wow.
Thank you, thank you.
Was this anybody's first time listening to the Streets of Minrathous? Even anybody here in the Discord chat?
Beans for everyone.
Beans? Justin
Yeah.
Beans?
Justin's handing out things in the
I
chat.
pulled in my best friend and my
Bathing
partner
beans.
to watch this. So, hi guys.
I did see somebody at the start say beans. Ivan.
Beans. Oh yeah.
I did see
I
it.
said rest in pepperonis, and someone said rest in beans, and I was like, nice.
Oh. Yeah, we've got Haven as being hot as usual. I'm having a lot of big feelings
Justin, if we
today.
don't see you in the blooming rose, I swear.
Yeah,
If I don't see you, people
Justin,
start typing.
Get in
After
there.
party in the
Get
Blooming
in there
Rose.
right now, Justin.
Justin, we need a breakdown review.
Sean says, great job, honey.
Oh, that's
It's
Ivan.
Nori's first time.
Ah.
That's my fiance.
Hi,
Hi.
Nori.
Hello, Sean.
Yeah.
Chat, say hi to Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean. What's that? My name is. What's that thing? Is it AA where they're like?
Yeah,
Hi, Sean. Hi,
Oh, my name-
Sean.
My
Welcome to
name
Rock
is
Club,
Tiny, and
Sean.
I'm an alcoholic.
We're fellow
I've been
Rock
on Dragon
Clubbers.
Age for 10 years now.
We've been waiting.
Yeah.
Every inch, every
Yeah.
bit of news, every soul volunteer, we've been there.
Say, hi, I'm Tiny and I'm a Dragon Age addict.
Chat, what were your thoughts for those who've listened to this for the first time? What are your thoughts on Nev on the streets of Minrathous? For me, I liked how it reintroduced the Venatori, because like as much as people like where it was done with them, I like that kind of like it for people who aren't that bothered about Dragon Age and its lore. I know those people exist, but like for people who were overwhelmed by the amount of factions, let me put it that way. For people who are overwhelmed by the amount of factions, it's nice to have the same faction but now with a different motivation. Still about evil gods and demons and wanting the glory of Tevinter, but now without that figurehead. So I like the fact that they can continue that theme without introducing another new faction into Tevinter, because it can get confusing. It can get
I feel like it's I think it's also realistic. Because it's like, you know, a certain German fellow a couple of years ago. It's like people are still here and like, he was right, and it's like...
That also happens in cults so often where like once the main guy dies, there's almost always someone that like kind of takes over.
Takes the mantle.
Behind the person, he gets turned into a martyr. So I can totally see how Corypheus became a martyr for the Venatori.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
But I did also
It's
like
very
some people that were part of it that didn't actually care about him. Like it's really interesting seeing some people that are very zealous and are very like, oh yeah, we do believe in him, he's basically our god.
Yeah.
And then other people being like, I don't know, we thought he'd win, seemed like a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's also like, if anyone has seen Gravity Falls, it feels very much like what are they called? The rich people that got into Bill,
yeah.
That invested all of their money and stocks into like Bill shit, like the evil guy shit, and then the evil guy loses, and it's like, well,
yeah.
I was really taken by like a couple different quotes, but one specifically where Nev is kind of like musing on this idea that like everyone wants a better Minrathous, you know, everyone wants a better Tevinter. There's a lot of problems in Tevinter, but the Venatori just want it to go back to how it was, you know. Make Tevinter great again is kind of the vibe I'm getting from that.
A little bit,
In the words,
as someone who lives in Europe and who is like half German, I can see the resemblance between the MAGA, you know.
Yeah, it was just really funny because like I don't know, everybody is still listening to the crazy outliers.
Yeah.
You know, they you know, say, oh, that guy's just whatever, but Nev says, no one looked at the prophet either, although maybe more liked his ideas than they were willing to admit. Just the idea that everyone wants a little bit better for everyone else. But
well, I mean, isn't that also like a...
Yeah.
I think I saw a thing somewhere where it was like one of the ways that extremist groups will get people in is they'll start out by saying a base idea that is very easy to agree with. Like, oh, we want Minrathous to have its former glory again. And then it's very easy to get normal people in with that. And then you just like drip feed them until eventually it's like, Corypheus, our god.
Yeah. And it's like, oh shit, now I'm into this.
Oh, it's too late anyway. You've got me into this thing, and now it's too late to leave because I'm already.
Like with Kala, how they were threatening his family. He got into stop slavery, and then it was like,
it was too deep. It was too deep. It's like a classic cult or whatever, you know, like Illuminati conspiracy theories that I do not condone in the slightest out there. But it's like once you're in, like
people.
Freemasonry or whatever. Again, I don't know them, but once you're in there, you're so deep in that you can't get out of it, whatever, you know.
I do have to say though, speaking of the former glory of Minrathous, I really hope we get to see a moment where it's like the people somehow see that everything they have that is somehow powerful or special has mostly just come from the ancient elves. I really just want that moment of them seeing like, hey, you are literally like a weak imitation of something. Your best is like what they would consider a sneeze of magic. I don't know. I really hope we get to see that. I really want to see how it affects the people.
I really do.
I just want Algernon to go be like, oh, you can do that. Our children could do that.
Yeah, exactly. I want it to be like, literally fetuses do that. Why are you impressed?
But I also think that if they do realize it, then they're just going to turn to the pure source and they're going to be like, oh, Elgernon, he's actually this whatever
Yeah.
old god of
Yeah.
ours. Come
Oh,
back
yeah.
to us. So I think
Yeah,
they're really
Yeah.
gonna
it's
run
also
with that.
true. Dumat, or
Prometheus a la
whatever.
Dumas. kinda.
Whichever
Yeah.
old god they correlate it to. If it's I can't
Whichever
remember which.
Elgernon is,
Yeah,
they're going
yeah.
to be like,
Yeah, they
our
probably
old
won't
Yeah.
be
god."
able to accept
And-
it, which sucks.
Yeah, and I think the Venatori are probably, without looking at spoilery stuff, I think the Venatori are gonna be, just speculation, are gonna be like worshipping the elven gods or have some regard to it with the old god
Yeah.
theory. I'm pretty sure that it's confirmed now that the Tevinter old
especially
gods are
after
the elven
the-
gods. I'm pretty
No.
sure.
Especially after the trailer when it's like, oh, everybody will prosper under my reign or whatever the fuck he says.
Exactly.
And it's like he sounds very like his accent
Yeah,
sounds kind
yeah.
of Tevinter. So it's like,
And they reveal themselves as the old gods in whatever capacity. Maybe they turn into a dragon, and they go, "Oh yeah, maybe they are then." Then sorted.
and I doubt they will they have difficulty lying to get people on their side,
Oh,
you know.
for
so-
sure.
Yeah.
Just show their power. Or maybe we have more Magisters back in the game. Who knows? There was Nev's tarot card.
I only
there.
want one Magister and that is Dorian Parvis. Just give me my
Sorry.
man back, please.
Oh man,
Evil.
I cannot wait to see Dorian. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah,
oh
I'm
my
convinced he's
God.
gonna be in the game, and I just,
Yeah,
just
he has to be.
you
He
know,
has
Also,
to
I
be.
want
church
to see
bells,
Nevaris.
choirs.
He has to be.
Yeah.
in the game. He has to be.
Well, I mean,
with
she
us.
got mentioned. So, like, she got mentioned in the
She did.
epilogue, right, of
Yeah.
Inquisition,
Yeah.
and then in Tevinter Nights as well. So I would be very, very surprised if she didn't show up.
If she didn't show up, yeah.
No, I would too. Like even with the Shadow Dragons or whatever, I know they were a part of the Lucerni, but I think, along with Biofan, that they're going to retcon the Lucerni into the Shadow Dragons because again, it gets really complicated and you have so many factions. And not for us hardcore fans, but when it is a casual player, it's like, okay, so you got the Shadow Dragons,
Yeah.
you got the Lucerni, you got the Venatori, and it's like, so the Lucerni are anti-slavery and so are the Shadow Dragons. What's the difference? And also, we don't really know. Maybe there is significant difference, but it sounds like they have the same goal, so it'd be easier just to retcon it
Yeah.
and go, actually.
It could have been like
Yeah.
it started out as the Lucernian
Yeah,
and
and it's
it
become-
formed into the Shadow Dragons.
Exactly.
I feel like there would be a small description to
to help.
differentiate
yeah.
them as well. Yeah.
But like how the Inquisition was from the Seekers of Truth and the Chantry or whatever, it was two organizations that then became something else.
Yeah.
They can, I'm sure that anyway.
Maybe Lucerni means Shadow Dragons.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe
Exactly.
correct translation.
Hey, exactly. Justin did say that he loved about the story of the exploration of blood magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seeing the
I'm sad that we haven't gotten a mage that can actually do blood magic since
Yeah.
2.
yeah.
I still really liked I really like what the story implications
Yeah,
could be
the
of that,
ambiguity,
especially if you
for
are
sure.
playing an actual mage or someone who's into Tevinter.
I would love to have Meryl to have like a small group of people that are learning like blood magic, but
Yeah.
like in a good way and not in a bad way. Like
Yeah.
communicating with spirits instead of spirits, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to see
Although,
if
to be
someone
fair,
can
knowing
do my name.
Tevinter, they would see the ancient elves using blood magic like a normal tool and be like, see
Yeah.
guys, it's okay, we can sacrifice.
They're like,
them."
hey,
It's like,
true.
no,
yeah.
no, no.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
no.
Probably will be, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
especially the way Sola said, like, blood magic is just that. It's magic,
Yeah.
right? It's just
Yeah.
how
But
you...
also he
use
doesn't
it.
practice it, and it feels like why
he
does he not
doesn't-
practice it?
Yeah.
Practice it?
And I'm wondering
Maybe
if
he just
will?
doesn't feel the vibe. Like, because I think
I
that's
feel
also...
like something it would be because of something the Avanoris would have done. Like he sees it as just magic, but like maybe one of the Avanoris has done something with blood magic.
think he
aka
could
probably
it-
like the Valasline.
I don't
And
know.
then
I
it's
feel like
like,
you might
yeah.
also see it very mundane in the way of like, so if we're using the weapons analogy, say he could be like, oh, I'm interested in daggers, therefore I use daggers. And if blood magic is a bow in this case, he might not want to learn it because it has nothing to do with what he wants to accomplish or what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So he just
Yeah.
like spirit magic, fade magic, just because he isn't interested or doesn't need that tool.
Mhm.
True. And it's also like if you think about the artifacts that he had, he needs to will strengthened and not be really thin.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
magic and like blood magic,
Yeah. It
things
thins the
that-
veil.
yeah. so that
Yeah.
might be it. Like why? because I don't know, maybe it needs to be like strengthened, because if he tries to rip or cut in it when it's weak, it just rips apart.
Yeah, and now we've got the dilemma of Rook having their blood in the mix of the elven gods, and that also connecting them to the Fade with Solas as well. Another reason why we can't use blood magic being the consequences of that. So maybe that will show also with that, it'll allow a narrative where we can see the true implications and the negative side of blood magic. I think it is meh for those who do want to see that in the game and have those morally ambiguous consequences. But I mean, it's got a story reason, so I understand it, and I guess we'll just wait and see.
Yeah,
what that
I
will
really
actually...
I think they did also say
really
they
wanted
wanted
to
to
have
add it in a later one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of it, or just not like the idea of, and I think to be fair, the Death Mage, the Death Caller, has that vibe because they can drain enemies from health and I believe restore themselves. So they can do death magic that can restore health, and the Reaper, the warrior class, also uses night blades that also drains health. So they're finding other ways for you to have that kind of build, but it's not blood magic. It's
But I do
Yeah.
just hope that there's an actual reaction to it this time, because
Yeah.
I feel like, and this has been said so many times, but just with a lot of the specializations, it felt like blood magic in DA2. Obviously, this was 2 games ago now, but I don't know. I feel like there should have been a much bigger reaction to that, and even with something like if you end up being a necromancer, that feels like something people might mention of like, hey,
Yeah.
that's kind of
It was
freaky.
very-
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
I went like a blood mage run just for the shits of it, and I'm like, no reaction. I'm like, hello,
Yeah, it's literally
we are
no
fighting
different from doing
against
an
like
ice
blood
mage.
mages and shit. It's like, hello. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, and I wonder if that will be tied to the factions as well. Oh, you're a Morn Watcher, so the death stuff, and that's the thing. I think there is going to be more I hope at least there's going to be more dialogue options with your class and your faction, and I assume that's what they're going to go for. But we're only.
they did say
Well, no,
faction would be a big part in the story, which is
exciting.
nice.
That means
Well, I'm quite sure that they
instead
said
of being
your...
like
me,
you know,
Manfred, and Emmerich are going to watch all the world, but no.
Yes. No, it's like it's like the Inquisition when you're Canarian. They're like, I don't know what this says in Kunlad. It's like, bitch, the fuck.
Yeah.
How do you not know?
But to be fair, I think they did say that there wouldn't be any comments made on your specialization because you can change it mid-game. So they were like, it would be a bit confusing.
Also
So I think they did
true.
specifically say, which I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I always just love going up to Vivienne and she's like, "Oh, so you're a Knight
Yeah.
Enchanter too?
Yeah.
Girl club, let's go!"
Yeah. What are people's thoughts on Nev, of her character, the way she speaks?
Oh
her
man, I have a lot of
characterization?
notes on this part,
Oh, yeah?
Jack. I've been waiting for this.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Go for it, Waxy. Go
Okay.
for it. Let's hear it.
Okay. So first off, the very first couple paragraphs.
Yeah.
I think she's talking about how the Venatori view the Inquisitor, but I thought it was interesting that she's talking about the cult lost its fight after their would-be god was struck down by their glorious Inquisitor, and the glorious is all in quotation marks. It makes me wonder if Nev actually kind of just is like, meh, the Inquisitor, great.
I mean, the thing is, I feel some people might hype up the Inquisitor too much. You know, they're like,
yeah, I don't
it's
think she
cool,
dislikes the
like,
Inquisitor as much as she
Yeah.
dislikes glorification.
So I feel like maybe in her circles, because also probably in Tevinter, they make the Inquisitor out to be like this.
Well, she's
big-ass
also got
figure
this
that,
outlook as well, and even on Solas, that's a name I've heard too much about in the missing comics. Like, I'm sick of hearing about that dude. She's probably got oh yes, they were glorious. It was 10 years ago. Can we move on?
She doesn't
from
like
Yeah,
celebrities.
that's probably
yeah. She doesn't like influencer
Certain
culture.
celebrities, yes. It's like, oh, not this again.
Yeah.
My two favorite parts though that really shone through, that showed us who she really is. I love all the little jokes about her not getting enough food or enough sleep. Very classic noir.
She's literally
detective.
me, guys. Literally, as I'm reading, I'm like, wow, that's literally just me.
My
Like,
favorite
not enough
one-
sleep, not enough food. Wow.
My favorite thing that really sums up what I think we're going to see a lot of Nev in the future is, Rana asks, how far can you get on your own? And Nev says, I don't know, but when I get there, I'll know it's as far as I could. And that's, that's so
That was so
perfect
good.
characterization.
It's so funny
Yeah.
because it feels a lot like oh, how far can you go? And it's like I don't know, but I'll call you if I know if
Yeah.
I'm there. Like
It's like I'll call you if I get there, and if I don't, I die. Let's
if
find
I'm
out.
not there, it's like,
You won't hear if yeah.
But we're getting a
I
lot of
totally
like, I don't want to say
appreciate-
unhinged, but we seem to be getting a lot of like
a little bit
characters. I
on
mean, what did they say about Elganon who would drink, was it gas station coffee or something like that? Like- But we-
and like
we-
energy
yeah.
drinks, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like
Um,
Lucanus, who's what he has going on. Like, I don't know, so many of the characters, and I'm not complaining, but so many of the characters seem to be leaning towards it. Like, they do have a front, which is a lot more controlled and whatever. And then on the background, it's like they would do skittle shots. I don't know, just they all
Yeah.
seem-
Everyone
I
is a
feel
game
like-
disaster.
I just
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that
it,
when her back
truly.
is against the wall, she just resorts to punching people in the fucking face.
I know. I really
Yeah.
hope I get to see
Yeah.
that punch someone in the face.
She's throwing
It's-
chips at a seagull. I refuse to believe otherwise.
Yeah.
So, you know, like
Yes.
in the like reveal trailer or whatever, there was
Yes.
that scene of her like kind of pushing her magic against some like blood mage dude or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like I guess might be part of her personal quest. I hope that at some point, like that we didn't see, like while she's doing that, she just says, "Ah, fuck it," and she just punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's all
super
the
funny.
morbid, like,
No,
She
but
helped
I
him with
feel
the
like
punch notice in the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Compilation, please.
Everybody takes a turn.
Yes.
I feel like the shots of Skittles behind the or Skittle shots behind the scenes. It's very true to real life as well because like I work in a store in a little shop. Like up front, I'm like, oh, I'm this professional thing, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, you know, and then I'm behind the scenes, I'm in the blooming rose and being absolutely feral. Like
Nev is a
Yes,
it's the
Gemini.
same thing.
Mhm.
Nev is a Gemini.
Oh, thanks. I'm a Gemini too.
There we go. Yep.
Ah!
yep. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you can tell because she is so buckled up and she's got her nice little tie and everything. And then she's got these nice little cute blue painted nails. And I'm like, girl, I need to see that side of you. Now.
And then
Yeah,
behind
oh
the
my
scenes,
God.
she's just taking body shots of the rook or something. It's like nice.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Waxy, any
Yeah.
other notes on Nev?
Let's see. I
Nev,
think
Nev.
that was on our little Nevy lady.
Little
I
Nevy,
think
Nevy?
that was
Little Nevy,
about
I couldn't
it.
let that slide.
Besides, I really just appreciated how we got to see her using her ice powers in a lot of different, like, specific ways, a lot of environmental ways. So she's not just like a blaster caster, she is really crowd control too, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
She
All
did say
the,
she's not a
like,
healer.
slowing down.
However, in the game, she is a healer.
Healer my heart.
Ryan, you know, she
My
you know,
God.
she was like stopping
Sorry,
completely,
Alice.
but she couldn't do very much. So we'll see. if
Yeah.
she, like,
She said I can like patch up a wound or
yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
Which like
Yeah.
maybe that's all she's actually doing in game is
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like patching
It's
yeah.
like,
up
well, if
wounds or
I
something.
freeze your hand and break it off, the wound isn't there anymore, technically.
Yeah, right.
Um,
So,
It's
Short
true.
and Creepy is saying that Nev is reading very much as a Virgo, and I'm like, you know, I can see that too. Very
Oh, okay.
Virgo.
Okay.
I feel so bad. I don't know any of, like, I know my zodiac
yeah,
trait
I only
because
know
I get
mine.
told it all the time, but
Oh.
past that, I have no
I
idea.
think I'm an
I
Aries.
I'm just like, yeah, Virgo. Yeah.
Aries.
Virgin.
Oh, fuck.
The virgin. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I remember I
am
used to get so mad about mine because it was like all the other ones get really cool stuff, I feel like, and I'm just scales, which it feels so lame.
I am
My-
looking forward to her romance arc, as well as
Yeah.
what her side quest line could be.
Yeah.
Shadow
We're
Dragons-
gonna do at least one
I've-
like investigation with her. There's
Oh,
no way we're not.
for
I feel
sure.
like,
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
like based on this story, it could be like she would go after more like Venatory plots, like side
For
quests.
sure. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the rising of maybe I would love just a bit of fan service. I would love another Magister as a side plot because you know
Yeah.
if they could do it in a good way. You know, like you know they've done it in DLCs of the Architect of Corypheus. We've seen her tarot card has literally like
Yeah,
an
it
old
literally has
Magister.
Like my
So,
Cracker,
Yeah.
one of my
for the
It
Cracker
would be
background.
novel.
sick, but it would need to be done. I mean, I know there's a lot, and that's asking for a lot, but to do that would be really cool. If not that, I'd
So
at least like to see, like, the Knight Templars, Captain Rana Sava, Jarvis, because we're getting characters like Butcher, who's a Cunari in Treviso from one of the short stories. We're getting characters like Andrea Cantori. All the other characters who are smaller, well, like Cateri della Morte. Like, we're getting a lot of smaller scale characters as well as the main companion. So I think it'd be cool to have that in Minrathous. If it's going to be such a central location anyway, it'd be cool to see those characters.
I mean, I did see some. Also, if this is completely wrong, everyone, I've been ignoring all the news and running from it like the plague. But I did see some theory that the Magister in Nev's card, instead of it being a big bad, it might be that she comes from a family of Magisters.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
And
that. That's my exact theory.
and I think that makes so much sense, especially because the way she carries herself feels
Yeah.
very refined, and it feels
Yeah.
like someone who's had a very fine upbringing. But then
Yeah.
she is
Yeah.
living this kind of like rougher life, and she kind of went on to do her own thing. So I think that Magister may rather be referring to either a father figure or expectations of
That
something
is
she was meant to
sick.
do,
Yeah.
and it would
Yeah.
also explain
Some
why she's such
ancestor,
a
yeah.
I'm
powerful
also very
mage that's just in the
curious.
middle of.
Nori says there's a Magister Gallus you find
in
his
the Healing
info in
Waste.
the hidden ways.
Oh, wow.
Whoa,
well,
what?
Yeah, I think because the photo that I saw as well, they also had they had I don't know if it was a photo of him or like a drawing of him for one of the comics where he showed up in, but like the same color scheme as Nev, same kind of shape language,
Oh,
um,
sick.
sort of serpentine. So maybe.
I have a theory that it has something to do with her really cool staff because it's very unique, very like
Yeah, we've never seen something like
designed
that
for
before.
her. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like some artifact from like one of the Magister's Sidereal or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be sick, though. That would be sick.
I'd also really be interested if we find out that her leg was maybe like either her not having full control of her magic and then being like a shame to the family,
Yeah.
or it being a punishment for something she did. I don't like. I feel like Dragon Age. It could go either way. It could be she was trying so hard to please her family that she like did something wrong, hurt herself, and then kind of became a shame, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Of they were like, oh well, now we have someone with
A purple in our midst, so it's like
yeah.
damn.
I mean, come on. I feel like Tevinter would do that.
Yeah. Well, especially after Dorian's story, yes, they would.
Yeah.
I'm
So I
also
mean, I don't know. I mean,
curious-
it could go so.
Some people are saying it in the chat, like Happy Thoughts and Justin. In this story, she does say that she doesn't have that many mages and magisters in her family, a lot more Templars. Maybe she's one of those people that Dorian was talking about, where it's like their bloodline can spontaneously have magic in it. And she's like one of those kind of like, I was raised on the streets, I was raised with nothing, and then I got magic? Come on,
Yeah.
that's not fair to you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Maybe some like Magister like got interested in her magic and wanted to be
She
an
was
apprentice.
trained by a magister.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Hence the father figure kind of thing. That could be.
And we know she
Yeah,
spends her
Justin's
time
asking,
in
where did
Dogtown as well.
magic? Was she in a circle? Like, where did she learn her
Yeah.
magic?
No, well, didn't that also happen to who was the guy who started was it 3 Trees to Midnight, who started out as an asshole? But he was also from like a family
yes.
of slaves or something, and then
Miriam.
when his
Oh,
magic
Yeah,
and then when his magic
Miriam.
manifested, he got taken in because he didn't have to go to a circle or anything. He just got
No.
trained. And sure, he
Yeah.
doesn't do anything glamorous, but we see Nev has a lot of power. So maybe someone higher up would have seen her potential and been like, "Oh, well, I'll then train you, take on your successes."
And we
Yeah.
and we know
I
she
think we're
hangs out
getting
in
something
Dogtown as
interesting.
well, which is like a very, we get the impression very like working class area because everybody's out there going to fish. Hence why she likes fish as well. It's not like near the
That's just
circle.
in folks. Fishing is working class.
Well, you know what I mean. Well, actually, it probably isn't. It probably isn't. That's right. But it's more like people are like it's a very working occupied area of Dogtown, and she cares for the people, as we know from the voice actor Jessica Clarke. That Nev is very much for the people of Dogtown, as well as including slaves, working with the Shadow Dragons. So she's very much, socially conscious of that stuff. So I want to know the reasons why that. Is there Is there a reason why? What's the correlation with Docktown? And also, where does she learn to get that magic in the first place? How does that correlate all together, really?
Nori Hicks is saying that Magister Gallus was looking at the Dwarven ruins and was working for Corypheus in Inquisition.
Oh.
Might be why she has a thing with a
Ooh.
Venatori.
Yeah,
and
Wait,
the hissing
imagine
waves.
she loved her mentor and then she got to like watch him get corrupted or get dragged into the Venatori and lost him that way. And that's why she's looking for answers with him.
Yeah, he studied in the Hissing Wastes
Oh,
for
wow.
Corypheus.
Oh,
I'm
flipping
trying to
heck.
look for
I
the
just
Yeah.
found him.
Because I feel
He
like
doesn't
it's
have
very
his own
easy to say
thing.
like, oh, he was a father figure and he pushed her too hard and she hated him. But what if it was the other way around and instead she really, really loved him or he really cared about her, showed her compassion, and then she got to watch him like get corrupted basically
Yeah.
for this madman and then die.
Yeah, that could also. Yeah, that there is no way of knowing until Dragon Age is out in like a month. Come on.
How many days?
Wait, let me check the timer. We are 40, 42, 41 days
My
depending on your
God.
time zone.
42
All right,
days
I'm
and 20
posting what I have
days.
in the.
Oh, I think I found it. Or at least one
it's
of them. I don't know if
one
there's
little
more.
blurb under Magister, but Magister Gallus.
So, yeah, okay. Until further notice, do not tamper with the torches. Lighting them in the wrong order summons demons. Oh, this is the Dwarvens. The inscriptions on the pillars indicate the correct order, but wait until you confirm the accuracy of our translations before proceeding. I have made maps to the other tombs where there are similar structures. Let the same warning stay your hand there, Magister Gallus. Below this, someone else has written complicated formulas and scribbled many notes, like demons bound into the rock. How did the ancient dwarves manage it without mages? Finding runes, settled properties of stonework, investigate.
Maybe that's how they were trying to figure out how to wake up the one under Minrathous.
Yeah, so
They were looking at similar instances of it.
yeah.
Interesting
Gung
that this Gallus studying dwarven things.
Oh.
Our Gallus dwarven leg.
Hey.
Yeah. So, yeah. Study impossible with dormant demons. Ask Cephas and Minrathous for help with binding. So, that was a dormant demon, for sure, under Minrathous.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, that's, yeah.
See, the problem with waking up something dormant is you don't know what you're waking up until it's awake, and by then
Yeah.
you're usually screwed.
Exactly.
I love
Catty
the
asks if
kind
I'm
of
gonna do some-
invincibility. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. City Catty asked if I'm going to do some kind of stream before the game's release. I'll be doing some kinds of streams for sure. It depends what kinds we're talking about, but we are doing the Rook Club literally right up until release.
Also, we have game night when the... Oh, we didn't do the game night yet, did we?
We did one game night
one.
in the server, yeah. We did one.
Was that for the release? I know we had a big one planned for the release.
We
party,
did it for the
but
release date, but we're going to do it more. We're going to do more frequently ones because instead of just doing one is what the what we're going to be doing. So
And the caster wants to play more mini golf. We have to feed her.
Yeah, I won last time. Wanna play?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
you
lose
did,
every
dude.
time, but I'm still always the first person to ask to play.
Villainous Kitty, please live stream your first playthrough. I want to see the raw screaming, crying, and throwing up.
Live stream you making your rook.
I need to consider the first one. I don't know if I'd do the first one. Just because of spoilers.
Yeah, that
some
has to be
people
personal as
being
well,
like-
maybe.
And being
What I
slow,
missed, I'm
I
back.
want to take my time, and people might be dicks and be like, by the way, the Dreadwolf
Yeah.
dies.
Oh yeah, there's always gonna be that one person in chat. That's why
By
I
the way,
said.
you are the Dreadwolf.
Oh yeah.
That's why I said like it would be fun at least to like once people have like the game downloaded and everything. Like
Yeah.
if we wanted to like talk and call and just show the character creator,
Yeah.
and we're all like, oh, we're all making our rooks and inkies together, and then we could show that, and then after we're done, we'll be like, all right, peace, and then
Yeah.
disappear off the face. of the
Goodbye. See you later.
Yeah.
See you in a
Bye,
year.
bye, bye.
That's the thing. I definitely am going to stream my second playthrough, which will be Dragon Age Taylor's version, and I will be creating Taylor Swift as an Antiguan
Nice.
Crow. Julius.
Are you gonna roleplay what she would do? or-
Oh God.
I'll try.
You're gonna have to be
What
very
I
careful
hear
about
is
all
we
of your
need to
choices and
send
dialogue.
Taylor Swift as to answer Jack, so they can like do a playthrough together. So we'll see what we'll do.
It's true.
No, Jack, it's just the decisions that have the most drama.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the ones with related song lyrics.
Oh, there we go, there we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
That would be
just like Half Pint Rogue, which I think that's small and creepy. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
I almost lost my cool when I
Yeah,
saw
they-
Find Rogue. I was like,
Yeah.
saw the
Yeah.
name.
I-
and I just
I did
lost
such a double take. I was like, wait, hang on. I know this typing style. But
Yeah, they
just
do.
like what they said of they'll be hidden away the first playthrough. My first playthrough, I will be in a cave. No one will be able
Yes.
to reach me.
I
I've told my
yeah.
friends and family that if you don't hear from me for 5 days, don't worry about it. I'm fine.
To the government, I am officially dead. Actually, I'm
Yeah.
legally dead.
I still need to like the thing is like with my boss I need to ask like a couple weeks before, like 2 weeks before,
Yeah.
so it's like I'm like waiting for it to be the right time because otherwise he won't remember.
Essentially,
Because
we
our, like,
all
schedule
die
is just-
on Halloween. Okay. We all-
Yeah.
Um,
If he's like, no, you can't be off, I'm gonna be like, oh no.
I feel
Yeah.
I feel a sickness coming on.
But-
Yeah.
Like he knows, like he is a like football fanatic, and not like the British ones where they ruin everything.
Okay.
But he just loves football.
Thanks for specifying that.
yeah, you're welcome. He just loves football.
Like,
and
oh yeah, so
and
he likes this thing, unlike the British who ruin everything. Anyway, so he really likes.
I have seen the videos of football fanatics. Okay,
Yeah.
they are
Yeah,
scary.
they're, I know. I'm not.
Would you like to bring up
I
the
mean, he's
videos of
70
that
plus,
performers?
right? Those videos, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no.
Is
But
anybody
he-
going to be watching any content tomorrow? I personally
No.
will watch IGNs, but I am not. Like, I might watch Mr. Mighty Plays. He's my favorite content creator. The only thing is, again, I love Matty, but he's a fan. He's a huge fan of the games. But for somebody like me, who's a hardcore fan, I'm not saying that in any kind of fashion. I'm just saying he would maybe have a bit of content on there that to him might mean nothing, but to me, it's like the secret
Like, oh,
lair
great, thanks for the
of
spoiler.
Arlafan, where like Elganan has a big poop, and it means a lot to me.
Mm,
From a long
Yeah,
Not
I just don't trust
any
anyone
other
to not
content
slip something.
creators.
That's
Yeah.
No social media.
yeah.
Only the tea house.
it's-
I'm okay
Yeah.
with spoilers, so I will be injecting everything into my veins. But then I will go back into my slumber, and then
Yeah.
when the game comes out, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that thing did happen." Like
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
look at it,
Yeah.
forget about it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I will be
Yeah.
there.
That's the thing, yeah. And Justin, please let me know what Unifade Walker.
I was gonna say
Non-spoilery, but please let me know because I really, really want to watch people's opinions and perspectives on it. But maybe I could listen to them. But then again, listening to them.
Yeah. No, Unifade Walker is going to be talking about Dragon Age a lot tomorrow.
But it's just, is it spoiler free though? That's the only thing.
No, I don't. Like, I believe they will tag it
Okay.
accordingly. So like no heavy spoilers will
again,
be.
Like what Jack was
Go.
saying, they might not. A lot of people don't even consider what could be spoilers to other
Loads
people.
of people.
for-
Loads of people. Like again,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
shade to any creators, but Luke
Yeah.
Stevens, he's a huge creator. Probably will feature like the 6-hour end mark of the game where they're like hanging out in the let's make up a fun area, hanging out in the Brazilian forest having tea with Flemeth, and it's like, yo,
Like,
bro,
fuck.
bro, and,
God
and
damn it.
for him it's like it's no big deal, but for me it's like, bro, I don't want to see Flemeth's
Yeah.
hiding place. Don't spoil
Yeah.
it.
They do
exactly.
say that there's like 3 hours of gameplay that no one is allowed to talk about, no matter
Yeah,
what.
there is still.
Yeah.
and it's not like they
Yeah.
can talk about the 6 hours of gameplay that they saw.
Okay.
There's still an
Saying it's
NDA
all-
in play. It's
it's all
just
Stuff within
Yeah.
what they're now calling Act 1. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, well, just for Act 1. That's not too
Yeah.
bad for me. But still, it could be something tiny. Like a couple of the other sentences that we've had, which are like, yeah, no, that basically confirms our theories that we've had for years.
And that's
like,
it.
And
And
it's like-
for me, I know so much too much now. Like, I know so
Yeah.
about what's it called? Weishaupt. I'm like, right, it's too much. And now I'm like, you know what? I
Yeah.
want to see the CC. I want to see the classes more. Like, I want to see more two-handed warrior gameplay. I want to see more archer stuff. But I don't need any more story stuff. That's enough
Yeah,
for me now.
literally.
We've got
Yeah,
so
I
much
want-
now. Inquisitor's coming back.
I've
Solas,
seen like
you know.
videos. I've seen like some people have uploaded like GIFs or like smaller videos from like gameplay stuff. Like they show the warrior like how they fight and stuff. I've
Yeah,
seen that
yeah,
right
exactly.
now, which is nice.
Yeah,
But it's like the story shit. I'm like, no, I don't.
exactly.
I don't.
Exactly.
Like that was because at first I was like, oh, I will just read like almost everything or watch everything, and then I read the article,
Yeah.
and that spoiled what happened after like the gameplay reveal thing.
Oh,
with
the Game
Solus.
Informer. The Game Informer.
I
article.
was, I was so fucking
Yeah.
mad. I was like, I did not want to know that.
Yeah.
I was like reading through. I was like,
I want to be like, oh my god, what's happening?
Yeah.
And
Pump the
then-
brakes here, pal. What the?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I want to
Yeah.
know what's going on, but I want to,
But, like,
you know,
it just
live
makes
it
me
in
have
game.
more questions that I'm
Yeah.
not going to get to answer until I get there, which makes it kind of annoying. Like, be like, you know, I'm going to see it all. I'm going to 100% the game anyways,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
it
Still,
gives
you
me
wanna
some
experience it
false
yourself.
expectations about what that could mean, so that sometimes, like, most of the time, you know, I never get my guesses right when those things happen anyways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it might just be like a little weird if we come in expecting something and they're like, just kidding, actually, they don't control the blight. The archdemons have nothing to do with anything. Like, I don't, you know, who knows, man.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yeah.
were just
No,
keeping
I
you on
think
your
I
toes.
just want that experience of what I had when I picked up Dragon Age Origins, which
Yes.
was literally just
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
oh my
yes.
god,
I'm
what
gonna
is
be
this
sobbing
game?
by the
I will see
menu. I don't
what,
even know
like-
what the music's gonna be, but I will be sobbing just because
Yeah.
like we'll be
Yeah.
in the menu
Exactly.
screen of a Dragon Age game again.
And then
Because it's
creating
like-
your
it's- I
character
want to
creator
have
and
that,
then
like,
creating your
oh.
Inquisitor. It's gonna be sick, and you want that
It's-
experience to be
What-
savoured and your own.
Than
Mm.
Rogue.
But it was literally
Yeah,
like, oh, what is this game? It's this game called Dragon Age. I knew fuck all about it, and then I played it, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, and then it
Like,
became
I want
like
that, and with these spoilers
sleep
going
and
on, I'm
breathe.
like, god damn it.
I'm gonna put myself on the chopping block or whatever out in the open. So I found Dragon Age through. So there were like these comics that were made that were basically like stuff for like sex education or sex positivity and stuff because I like educating myself on those things. And there was a guest comic about Dragon Age to talk about the romances, relationships, the portrayal and representation of different sexualities and all these things. So so I literally found Dragon Age because I was like, so I get to romance hot people in a fantasy world?
I
then-
only found
And then
it because-
I fell in love with the story though after I was like so in, like locked in like after that. But, yeah.
I literally only found it because my boyfriend at the time was like a really big gamer, and then I went through his games because I was like, I want to play games, and then I found first Oblivion, like Elder Scrolls, and then Dragon Age, and I was like, I want to play both of these games.
I only
And
found
was
it because I had a very limited budget for, like, I'm
Mm.
trying to think what I guess the euro or dollar equivalent would be something like I think it's 10 euro a month. That was my allowance.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then so it was like, okay, I've saved up for 3 months. I can get one thing.
Yeah.
And then there was a PlayStation deal on Inquisition, and I was like, oh, dragons are cool. And now we're here, 10 years later.
And now we're
Here we
here.
are.
simping
Yeah.
for
We're still
characters.
waiting.
I feel like it's that scene where like I don't like someone just picks up a bottle of alcohol and then it's like flash forward 10 years. It's like, who am I? Where am I? What have I done?
What was this magic as alcohol?
Yeah.
Oh, dragons, cool. And they were never the same again. Like,
Yeah, it's like you come for the dragons and stay for all the trauma and the good romance.
come for the dragons,
worst
stay
thing
for the
was-
age.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
in
stay for the
between-
edge. Yeah.
I think it's also was like when I saw the Dragon Age game, I was like, we were right outside the room. We were playing D&D at the time.
Yeah.
And we had to go outside of the room because there was some secretive stuff that was with some other player. So we were like, okay, we're going. And then I just started looking through the games. And then I found Dragon Age, and now it's like, oh.
And now nothing has ever equated
This is
to
my
it.
life.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever
Yeah.
come close.
I mean,
Yeah,
Mass
I
Effect
think
was right
I-
there, but yeah.
I
still
saw,
need to
like,
continue Mass
some-
Effect.
Yeah, I got right up to where the last mission starts,
Yeah.
but I kind of know what happens, so I don't want to do it. I'm just gonna let Garrus and Shepard be happy forever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's
Leave
fine.
it
Yeah,
at
man.
that.
Yeah,
There's nothing
But-
else past that. I don't know what you're
It's
talking
true.
about.
no, exactly.
Exactly.
They're all prepared. The galaxy all likes each other now, or
And
is at least
that's it.
allied.
Yeah. That's it.
You did it.
There's nothing
Yeah,
else
but
to
I
do.
was like,
Yeah.
I think.
I like your mother, villainous kitty.
Yeah, I think Short and Creepy said it somewhere earlier about
Mm.
having the ADHD Swiss cheese brain.
I can see that, yeah.
'Cause we obviously had some stuff spoiled about the game, and I'm not gonna lie, I just used my ADHD brain. I just focused on literally anything else until I forgot it, and I'm not even entirely sure what they spoiled anymore.
Yeah.
I just
That's it.
made myself forget it. I refuse to know. I want to go in and just, kind of get it as fresh as I can.
Mm.
Also, reminder, I did say this before we went live, but the embargo lifts tomorrow. Everyone
Yeah.
mute what you have to, block
Yeah.
what you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
like anybody who, I
Block,
mean, a lot
like,
of people in the
different
chat have said
tags
they're
or
gonna,
words.
yeah, a lot of people in the chat did say
Yeah.
they're gonna watch it, but if those who aren't going to, who are watching this as a VOD, yeah, be careful out there because spoilers may
I
lurk.
treat it like I treat leaks.
Yes, yeah,
This is all unverified until I play the game myself. That's just how I'm gonna treat it.
yeah.
Like,
For me, I'm only gonna be following the BioWare accounts, and
Yeah.
I'll have a look at IGN because they have, they show a bit, but it's not too crazy. But I'm
Yeah.
also looking for like the CC stuff. I'm not looking for.
That's what I mainly care about.
I want to hear the. You know what the best thing is with the publications. I'm not sure about creators, but they do release a transcript or an article version that you can read. So I'll be reading a few of those and at least reading their impressions that I can gloss over just to see, because I know the IGN one said this has been worth the 10 years of a wait, which is brilliant to hear, and I want to hear more stuff like that. So I do want to hear those bits, but it's the content that makes me worried of, and even thumbnails, like seeing Morrigan's face and being like, "Yo,"
Yeah, with that. Imagine like nobody watched the reveal trailer and suddenly on their view page someone just puts Morgan's face like
It's like, wait, who's this
Like,
bitch?
Bro, what? Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
So yeah, I know that like me personally, I'm gonna be looking at like all the spoiler content. I'm gonna be like, yeah, but what about the hair physics? Like for the CC, like the CC's gonna be shown, and I don't give a shit about anything
my
else.
God.
Yeah.
Like, I am on Twitter, and there is so much shit on Twitter about their the hair physics.
Yeah.
For some reason, people are stuck hating the hair physics, and I don't know why.
Yeah, and I'm like, why?
I want to
Be
send them
happy
back to
about
the Inquisition
anything.
trenches. Just be like, okay, you want to
Yes!
complain about hair? Go, have
Static
fun.
hair.
See what it was like. See
Yeah.
what it was
Oh,
like.
yes.
See what it was
before.
like then.
You
I
want
would
the
love-
Lego hair?
I
Go
would
on.
I
love
guess they
them
missed some Lego
to-
hair.
5 variations of bald. How fun
You
was
can
that?
choose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can choose in the beginning of Veilguard. It's like, oh, do you want Veilguard hair or do you want Inquisition hair? And then it's just like, if you do
You
Veilguard
want
hair,
a
it's just
stuffer?
flowy shit. And then if you do Inquisition hair, it's just this helmet of plastic
Yeah.
and 50 Shades of Bald. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my tinfoil for tomorrow, if it happens, I'm gonna be so happy. My tinfoil is that we're gonna get to see a lot of our returning characters. Like they'll finally confirm, oh yeah, here's Dorian, here's Fenris, here's Isabella. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
My other tinfoil is that because it's Act 1, they'll get to a point where they'll be like, all right, now you get to design your Hawk and your hero
Please.
for Elden.
Please.
And I just want that to be what we
Imagine.
Can you imagine?
You know, I kind of want to, like, the hero of Ferelden just send
Please.
another letter with a necklace. Just
Oh.
You're like, not my problem. I've done this
No.
shit too many times.
Yeah, I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah. No, I have
need
a
confirmation.
theory that we might get like because when they initially said that who the voice cast was,
Yeah.
like for the main people,
Oh,
they
yes.
said like there's more to come,
Ah.
but we'll release that like closer. And I'm wondering if tomorrow they'll release like some of those who returning characters are, and then like the rest of the voice cast.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out who's voicing Elgernon and Gillenon. Like
Absolutely.
maybe,
That's brilliant. I'd like
is
that.
Matt Mercer just making skeleton sounds,
Yeah.
or is
That's what Elginon, we know it. We know
haven't
it.
actually heard Manfred yet, have we?
We've heard like you can like kind of see in if you watched the IGN video, there is like a section where they show Manfred and you can kind of hear him make like a sound like a skeleton hissing noise.
The sound you just
That's
made
it.
sounded like a Minecraft creeper hiss.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of hope if we do get to like have our hero Ferelden in the game,
Yeah.
I kind of want him to be mute. Still.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And like because
The
their
blight's
technology
gotten to them
has gone
so
better.
much. Yeah, they can just nod.
But maybe
Yeah, they
use
have no voice.
hand gestures, like actually be mute, then they use like ASL kind of thing.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Like, I
not
would
cool.
want that because they don't have a voice, and I feel it would be weird to like make them have
It
a
would.
voice. So
It would.
it would be fun if they like did like sign language or like they are actually mute. That's just a canon.
That's how I thought I would feel when I played Dishonored 2 and they gave Corvo a voice, and then
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, it's the perfect voice.
Yeah, but Corvo
that's
is
true.
one person, and you
Yeah.
don't really change
Yeah.
him.
You
Like,
have to get so
It's-
many
yeah,
voice actors.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult for sure.
It could just be like, oh, the hero Ferelden got like an injury. Like, yeah, I don't know if
smacked in the
anybody.
throat by a
Well,
dragon.
So I don't know if anyone here has ever watched the Shape of Water movie.
Yes. Yes.
I want to.
Yeah.
I hear
The
it's
monster
so good.
lover in me, but like the whole, but the whole thing in
Yeah.
that movie was that she received like an injury like on her neck when she was younger, and it like basically like damaged her vocal cords. And I'm like, they could do that where like, I mean, this whole long journey of looking for a cure for the calling, you're telling me they didn't get into trouble along the
Yeah,
way? Like
exactly.
the hero Ferelden not
Yeah.
getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like
Yeah.
they could have totally gotten an injury, like, and you see it like along their neck. It's like not like
Yeah.
really bad, but it's bad enough where it would have like, oh, they can't talk anymore. So
Yeah.
we're finding
Also,
other
this would be
ways,
total
right?
fan service, but imagine whoever they romanced being the person who spoke for them. Like, because
Yeah.
obviously this is their partner, they've been with them
Oh,
for
that'd be
years.
cute.
So you've just got Zevran standing next to the hero Ferelden being like,
Oh.
I don't think he
Yes,
approves of that, or like, I would be careful. He's very likely to
my
stab you if you say things like that.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like,
And then just
oh,
the hero
what is-
Ferelden elbowing him, like, can you please make me sound more professional?
It's like, please, I am
I
the hero
do not
of
think you
Ferelden.
want to hear what they said. Yeah, yeah, like,
Although I
yeah.
wonder what they would say to the title Hero of Ferelden. They're like, fuck off. Please let me be.
Yeah. They're probably just like, can I just please get a decent living wage and like leave me
Yeah.
alone?
I have
Can I-
yet to be paid. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
give me some of the stuff that happened to Fiona, because like she's free of the taint,
Right.
hopping about. Obviously, unless you killed her by siding of the Templars in Dragon Age Inquisition. But if
I
not,
just did that recently.
Also, Happy Thought says, oh, the Silent Sisters and Orzammar use sign language, so that could be
that'd be sick.
a nice...
Dude, that'd be so good for just like representation. To
Absolutely.
hell, I would love it.
Yeah.
Like,
I would love it.
Exactly,
That'd
that
be
one
so
of the
good.
like main characters is mute and they use sign
they
language.
sign language.
Mm.
Wrapping this up, so thoughts for tomorrow. We'll go around. What would everybody like to see in terms of tomorrow? If everybody, I know is avoiding stuff, but obviously we're gonna see like Bioware tweeting and IGN posting. What would we like to see if we're avoiding spoilers? And if we're not avoiding spoilers, what are we like Haven, for example? What would you at least like to see from all of that, or at least just something that you want from tomorrow's splash of news?
Yeah, I mean, I
Character
definitely.
creator.
Yeah, character creator.
Yeah.
Character creator. But what else?
Prosthetic indie character creator. I want to see if we get prosthetic.
Oh yeah, well, I do want to see like maybe a little bit of a walkthrough of character creator. I doubt that we're gonna get like an in-depth walkthrough tomorrow. I think that'll be like separate, like probably in October, I think is when like we'll get it, but which is only like a week and a half. Jesus Christ, only like 2 weeks away. But
Oh,
but besides
42
like
days, people.
sneak peeks of that, like I feel like I genuinely like I'm so easy to please. I feel like I would just want to see more like of the character walking through like other environments and stuff. Maybe like if they're like, hey, this is an example of one of those like side character quests that you can do with one of your companions, like maybe something like that, like to showcase what it's like to stumble upon one of your companions out in the world. You know, like
That'd be
that.
sick,
I think like that could be, you know, pretty cool. I don't think I'm gonna be like. I would love to see romance, but I doubt. Genuinely, I kind of doubt that they would want, like, even with this, that they would not spoil any of that. But maybe I would like to see some flirting, though. I would like to see like them saying flirting lines and what they say.
yeah.
Maybe some early, like
Yeah, like really
romance
early, like
style,
when
just
you're
flirting and
still,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, when you're just flirting. Like I want to see how people react. Those are kind of the things that I'm hoping for. I think.
Yes.
Aris,
Also,
anything?
isn't Vows and Vengeance tomorrow as well?
Yes,
It is. Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
it's Valara, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Valara.
Valara, my beloved.
I am very excited to see Valara.
I want more screenshots of Valara. That's all I want.
I think I'm still like kind of I'm not iffy about her in the sense of like one, I think I get very nervous after Sarah anytime we get a character that's very energetic. Just because she was absolutely not my cup of tea.
Fair.
I mean, she's poorly written, so.
Yeah, she like Valara does seem a lot more charming in her energy, but at the same time, whenever she reminds me of Meryl in the sense that I kind of see her finding something that she thinks is exciting that she doesn't necessarily understand, and then she kind of runs headfirst into it, or like opening it or something, and then it's like, oh, whoops, unleashed giant double blighted dragon ogre.
She does feel a bit like Nadia, but like
I feel like she's so smart stupid as well, like Solus. And I feel like she's just gonna get really excited over something and then open. Like she's gonna make something go wrong at some point. Probably not on purpose.
Really hope she's
but
more nuanced, like you're saying, like not as naive, not as like straightforward. Like I always hate on them, but I do love them. But like BioWare loves to do this thing with like Liara and Meryl. And like Origins Liliana to an extent. Liliana's a little bit better, but like Liara and Meryl in their first appearances are just so little sister coded and so naive and like show me the ways of the world, Daddy Shepherd Ewood. And
I hated it. Like, oh my god,
fucking cringe that I felt through my body.
That was brilliant.
But I also feel like their intelligence gets so I don't know. I feel like their intelligence gets downplayed so much.
Like,
because
really
but
like Liara especially, but because Liara, by the time you meet her in Mass Effect, she's not like a young person anymore. Sure, she's a bit sheltered, but like in theory, she's had like some life experience. And I feel like with Valara, first of all, living with the Veil Jumpers, obviously probably not the safest, most stable life.
True.
And then obviously to understand and decode Elvish things, you have to be intelligent. You have to understand how did they think, how do they work, how does their magic work. And I really dislike when they take a character like that and they hint at their intelligence all the time. So whenever it's convenient, this character will be like, oh, well, I can actually read Ancient Elvish, so haha. But then in random moments, they'll almost suddenly lose that intelligence or that knowledge out of nowhere just so that the main character can have a moment or something.
That's what I feel with like Meryl as well, because like she's a blood mage, but she communicates with spirits in such a way that they help her, not like it's not the communication with demons, but with spirits, you know, and then that takes a smart person to do, because obviously in like DA2 there are a lot of blood mages and they are very stupid.
Yeah,
So
Dragon
it's
Age 2 was just me constantly being like, no, guys, we have to give mages rights. And then the mages doing blood magic, me being like, for fuck's sake,
Yeah,
guys.
but it's like
Yeah.
Meryl
Right.
is such like she's so
Right.
smart and
Okay.
she uses like her magic and blood magic
Mhm.
to, you know, communicate with spirit, blah blah, all that stuff, and it's like, why are you making her out to be so stupid and like naive? She's not that stupid and naive, I
Yeah.
think. Like she
Yeah.
can be like, I feel like her brain wanders a lot, but it's like ADHD coded.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
just like, ooh, a flower kind of thing. But
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
she is smart.
Yeah.
Anybody
I'm
else
really
looking
hoping
forward
for
to
what we
tomorrow?
saw.
I'll go. What's the?
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to the excitement. Like I've said this as well
Yeah.
on the Discord server. I get excited by proxy of everyone else getting excited.
Yeah.
But like actually I avoid the spoilers channel like it has the plague.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just in terms of I'm really liking seeing everyone get hyped, and there is some stuff that I want to know,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of doing I don't know, I'm just like holding myself off of like I will figure it out on my own then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I also saw one person say, not here, but was basically, I don't know about you guys, but like walkthroughs on certain things. I like
Yeah.
the comfort of knowing, like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
I'm really unsure about this choice. Let me just kind of make myself feel better, see what might happen one way or the other.
Yeah.
What I actually really enjoy / I'm terrified of is that no one's gonna know what anything
No
does.
one,
this
Nobody
time
there
around.
is no
Yeah.
walkthroughs.
Because
That's
knowing
why-
Dragon
Nobody
Age,
will
it's
know
gonna
the
be like
consequences
talk
of the
to the
choices
urchin.
until
That's why
Yeah.
how
I'm
many hours
save
down the line.
scumming. I'm save
Oh, yeah,
scumming the hell out
absolutely.
of this game. I do
No,
not
but the
care.
problem is knowing Dragon Age in like the first 10 minutes you'll have an option to talk to the like urchin in the beginning or not, and if you do talk to him, you get the secret like coin that can kill Gelenan in one thing. But if you
And you
don't
only
talk
find
to him,
out
then
down the
Elganon
line.
wins and
Oh my
everyone
god,
dies.
I know.
Yeah.
The damn beggar that they ignored on the fucking the
I know. Yeah.
playthrough.
Urchin,
the
bring me the
gameplay.
moist
Yes.
towelette.
Yeah.
And it's like the gameplay reveal. They ignored like a beggar, and we were.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like screeching
Yeah.
at the fucking screen,
Yes.
like
Yes.
talk to the beggar.
Interact with a beggar otherwise. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you guys see the meme of the is it the Antiquator who runs the Black
Yeah.
Emporium?
Yeah.
The meme where it's like the Inquisitor bringing the cut off arm, and then the Inquisitor's like, "Oh wait, while we talk about this," and it's like a deal's a deal, and the Inquisitor walks out with Chauncey. So like has lost the
Yeah.
arm but takes the tiny bear, and is like, "I have finally gotten my prize."
That is so cute. Oh.
I mean, I would take that deal as well, to be honest.
Waxy,
Gotta have
anything you would like to
Chauncey.
see tomorrow?
Ooh boy. So yeah, specifically mostly just stuff going on with like character creator.
Yeah.
And for me specifically though, I just want confirmations on like some cameos would be kind of cool for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
tell me Fenris is there, please. Just
Yeah.
please tell me
Yeah.
Fenris
Yeah.
is up.
I really want him
Give me
to
that
yeah.
business. My love.
I need
Like
to see him in the new art style. I really do.
I need to hear Gideon
pretty.
Emery coming from that face again, and
Yes.
Yeah. Oh
my
my
comics
god.
are coming in on Thursday, and I'll get to read all of them for the first time.
Hey. Tiny, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to see if you are looking at stuff or not?
Like I said, the character creator is
Yes.
probably one of my priorities.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I am kind of like after the Game Informer article, and then I watched a little bit of the IGN stuff, and
Yeah.
then I got a spoiler as well, and I was like, well, I
That's-
am
No,
not
I
watching
got trust
any of
issues
this.
after that.
Yeah. That's
So
no,
I'm
it's
gonna
completely
be
understandable.
avoiding a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be avoiding a lot as well. I like
Because I
Kevin's
think-
idea
yeah.
of the voice cast. I'd love to see more of the
Yeah.
voice cast tomorrow, because that's something that's like you can confirm that some characters will be in it, but I want to know who's voice acting Gillenan and Elganon as
And
well.
then, and it's also like I feel,
Yeah.
especially now with the whole fucking AI thing.
Yeah.
Excuse me, swearing.
No,
It's I feel like we need to uplift like the voice actors a lot more, because it's like, you know, well, in general we need to uplift them a lot more, but especially now, especially after EA, like they were the thing on Twitter where they're like, oh yeah, it's like the foundation of EA kind of thing, or whatever the fuck they said, and I was
Yeah.
like, no. So we need to
I agree.
really
Yeah.
uplift
What
the
what kind of
voices.
voice would you guys think for Gillenon? Because I have
Good question.
I
because
think
I
in
think like
the reveal
Shore.
trailer.
I
That
want her
Yeah.
to sound like a siren. I want her to sound like
Oh.
the
Here's
most
here's
beautiful
the thing.
voice
Siren would
that
be
will lure
cool.
me into the ocean.
Yeah.
Siren would be
Mhm.
cool, but
Yeah.
I think like a voice like oh, what's the name again? Shore Agdashlu. She did the she was someone in Arcane, but she has like such a raspy.
That raspy. Oh my god, I
Yeah.
love her so. She
I
was
I
also
think
one of the oh my god, one of the Quarians. She was like Tally's like
yeah
aunt.
Oh,
yeah
okay.
Whatever.
Oh yeah.
because
Oh
I
my
think
god,
she
I
has
love
such an
her so much.
incredible ability to make because her voice is quite harsh, but she has
Yeah.
such an incredible ability to make it sound very soothing and maternal, which I think fits
Mm.
Gillenon very well. And then the next second, it is just the most menacing, unsettling
Right.
Oh,
growl.
now I need to
And
go to the Blooming Rose.
I'm-
No.
And I
I'm
just
gonna
think
be,
her
I'm
as
gonna be-
Gillenon, I think would be incredible. I doubt it, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in a world.
Mm.
She's
I'm
already.
gonna be cringe
Oh,
and
I want
say
her.
Haven as Nev.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually.
Haven is going on.
Ursula voice.
Mm.
What song does
Like
she
Little
sing?
Mermaid?
What's that?
everybody,
Yeah, what's
whoever.
that song? She sings.
Poor unfortunate souls.
Poor unfortunates. Yeah.
Fortunate
Yeah.
No.
So sad. Did they come running to my door? Do I help them? Yes, I do.
I
Yes.
love that.
I feel like Jack makes me feel so straight in comparison, despite the truth of the matter. Like I don't know Disney songs off by heart. How do people just know how that goes?
I have watched. They
watched
are my
so many
comfort
times.
movies.
Too
so-
many watchings of too many Disney movies when I was a child, man.
Okay,
Yeah.
favorite Disney movie?
Mulan.
Tangled.
No, Mulan.
Treasure
no.
Planet.
Tangled.
Yes.
Oh
Like,
shit, that's
Treasure
good.
Planet,
Okay,
yeah.
that is good.
Treasure Planet and
Wait,
Tangled.
what
and those
about
were, like,
Atlantis? That was also
I'm gonna
really
say
good.
I
Robin
watched
Hood.
it the other day.
Robin
And
Hood.
Atlantis, so good.
Oh, Atlantis is so good.
Who was the blonde
Mm.
woman in Atlantis? Because she changed so much for me.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh,
I
know
was
that.
simping
Possible.
for like both lead characters in the
Yeah,
How did
because
you
the thing is,
get
I was
Milo and
I-
Kira.
because like yeah, because Kira, I was like, okay, wow. Milo, I was like, okay, wow.
Mm.
And then the blonde woman, I was like, okay, I think something is going on in my brain.
Villainous
Oh.
Kitty said Jungle Book.
Atlantis.
Oh man.
Yeah, my
Jungle
my
Book is
favorite is
really good.
definitely the old Robin Hood with the little cute foxy guy.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
love Robin Hood as
Oh.
well.
It means so much
No.
to me.
For like, it Treasure Planet for me. Because I don't know, like
Brilliant.
it's such an
Fox and the Hound is
underrated
the
movie,
movie.
and the music.
Yeah.
Like
I'm still here. Oh my god.
every time that pops up when I watch it, that is
I
one of my
cry.
comfort movies, which is weird because it's like
Every
a very
time.
sad movie.
Guys, you should totally watch Treasure Planet for a tea house party.
Let's
We should
do
do
it.
Yes.
Treasure
please.
Planet.
Did you guys watch The Fox and the Hound from Disney?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
was
yes,
good.
yes.
I
That is
remember
also a
watching
crime movie.
because I think that one and Bambi were some of the ones where, as a kid, I was like, "Oh, life is scary, cool."
Fuck my life, I guess. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's literally just like, "Oh, see, they're best friends, and now they have to kill each other."
That song is gonna play. Yes.
With that,
God.
Just
we
wait.
will end
City Cat, thank you for the
Rook
Mulan.
Club there. And
Yeah.
next week, folks,
Thank
we're doing the Wigmaker job with
I'm so
Yeah.
excited to listen in on that
Yeah,
one.
who's doing it?
Della Morte and Ilario
Who's
Della
doing
Morte.
Lucanus?
I
who's
don't think
Lucanus?
I only have one person down, which is
Oh shit.
Maybe Misha for a small
quick.
character. So if
Okay,
anybody
everyone has-
wants,
Oh my god, please.
if anybody wants, yeah,
Can I do Lucanus?
yes, yeah. Right, Haven's doing Lucanus. I'm gonna.
Yes.
Take it if you do two sexy characters right in a row.
Haven's
I can't.
gonna kill us off.
Guys,
shit,
I
we're
love
gonna
playing
die.
like swarmy bastards.
Haven,
it's
I'm gonna need
Haven.
at least a week to stop
Yeah.
steaming off of this session. Could you give me a
Haven's
second?
killing
Can't
us
be
off.
that hot 2 weeks
You
in a
know
row.
what?
It's
You know
brilliant.
what? I'll book a vacation and I'll just stand there with
I'm
a
gonna-
fan with Aris's
Yeah.
place, like
I'm
calm
gonna
down.
You gotta make sure Roxanne joins the stream.
We've got Misha for F, who's a smaller character. So we'll need an Ilaria. I'll go through it and we'll sort it out and I'll put it in the chat.
Yes.
We've got Amber Rose.
Amazing.
So yeah,
Here.
but we have Haven as Lucanas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the same schedule for next week too. It's
we'll-
a 4-week training
Yeah.
thing.
No worries. We'll just do it. We'll do it at 8 p.m., which is my time, which is absolutely
yeah.
fine.
I can also play some because I will have the day off the day after, so
Yeah.
next
I'll,
next week as well. So
Yeah.
I can play
Jack.
something as well if needed.
Aris.
Just so you don't miss it, I'm doing this for Justin, who just wants to know that he wants to read on May the Dreadwolf Take You.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh.
Okay, Justin. Let me check if I've got you written down.
You're welcome, Justin.
Justin, you are
Yes.
written
Justin.
We're
down.
all looking forward to that one.
Justin, you are written down. I've got a lot of takers for that one. So,
Yes.
Everyone else can have that one. I'll just sit back and listen and take it all in.
Mm.
and then I have Tiny for 8 Little Talons, no specified character. Waxy for Rasan in Genitivi dies in the end.
I believe I said we.
Just toss me
I
wherever you
am on
need
the
me.
Dreadwolf Take You as well as.
I've written you
Charter
down as
or
Charter.
another character.
I've written you down as Charter.
Oh, we said another character.
Great
as
charter.
well,
I would love to
I
hear your
believe.
charter.
because of my accent, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm still unsure about that one because I might want to do that one myself.
Yeah. I know.
I
But
think
yes,
Jack is coolest because that makes
that's
it the
what I
most
really,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I kind of want to do Solus. I want to do
I
the
said, like I said last time, I just put it on the table because of my accent, but I love to do charter.
Yes, you are down for
Yeah.
Charter. We have Venom.
I love charter.
We have. I'd like to get Lucas for an executor if he wants to. Who's
Ooh,
for
yeah.
Sulcan. Tiny for Charter. Venom for the Carter Dwarf. I think he'd be brilliant. And then we have Emily as
Yeah.
the Mortalitassi. So then
Oh,
Justin
yeah.
wants to do a
That'd be great.
character.
Yeah.
And then we will have Solas, who I will, again, I need to consider because I would like to do, but we'll see. But for next week, I'll put how many voices are in, we can make a job in the Discord. For those who don't know about Discord, if you want to join my Discord, it is Patreon locked just because it keeps it safe, it keeps it secure, and it keeps it from being raided, which has unfortunately happened in the past, and it just keeps the community small and nice, and obviously it's nice at that time. Community watches Rook Club anyway, but it just keeps it all contained. You don't need to be a patron forever. It's just how you get in, or becoming a YouTube member on the channel as well. I also do let people invite their friends as long as they don't share the link out on Twitter or on social medias. You can invite your friends too, so we can keep it still contained but also friendly as well. But if anybody else is wondering about how people join these, yeah, it's all via my Discord server for those who are interested in that. But
It's
yes,
a great place.
yes, it is. It's
It
a very,
is. We are
yes.
very wholesome. We said
the healthiest
wholesome
interaction
And
Well,
where, yeah, and where we're
I've
not
had.
wholesome,
We are
we do
too
have a
wholesome.
quarantine in the naughty corner.
Blooming Rose.
There is a blooming rose, but there is something for everybody.
Join
If
us
you-
in Horny Jam.
Yeah,
from
Very
Dragon Age voting competitions to, gaming.
occasional hall chats.
Lots of horniness
sharing
in
their
its own
awesome
respected
artwork.
area, though. To people,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it's all
Yes.
it's all very much contained for every kind of Dragon Age fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going in, you want just the tidbits of news, we have a channel for that. If you want to mute all the horniness, if you want just to see the funny little memes that go in there, if whatever, if you just want to stay
Also,
in.
if you want to see how some of us look.
Also,
we do
if you
have a
just
topic
want the
channel as well.
horniness and you want to mute
Yeah.
all of the server.
Every now and then someone posts a selfie and it's just someone saying, "See you in the rose, boys."
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Final comment: a lot of Dragon Age fans are very hot. In fact, most Dragon Age fans.
I've
are
noticed
Yes,
this.
like,
Isn't
yeah.
this Discord server?
I-
Good
Bisexual
lord.
panic that I've had in this Discord is.
It's
It's something.
also there's a section just for me haunting everybody with cursed pictures of beans.
Oh god.
It's
Oh, yeah.
great.
Mute that one
Yeah.
first. The second you come in, mute
Like
that one.
No.
every time I see like a voice clip of you, and like you post a voice clip, I'm like, that is Beanie Weenies. And then
Yeah.
like
Dear
Beanie
God,
Weenies.
no,
I'm
he's
like,
at
yeah.
it again.
I've opened that like thread, I think, 3 times by accident, and each time it has like mentally damaged some part of my hippocampus.
I had my phone on full blast because I was listening to something, and then I clicked on it, and it was like Beanie Weenies, and you could hear it through the whole house. And my partner was literally like, "What the fuck is that?"
That's Jack.
Beanie weenies.
Yes, Jack, don't worry about it. It's Beanie Weenies.
Oh,
We need someone to just say beanie weenies very essentially, so like you like it's dead silence in the house. Or have you guys seen those Alexa intruder alert things? And then it's like, Alexa, someone's in the house, and then the speaker just plays Beanie weenies.
It's just like the like Dragon Age battle music, and
is
then
it
it's just
seductive,
Beanie Weenies on
or is it
repeat.
scary?
That's the thing. I think
Yeah.
if you say anything, if you say like the weirdest things seductively, you can make it very unsettling.
Yeah.
If I came towards you and went,
Beanie
quarterly
weenie.
finance report, you'd be like, what the
Oh,
f is happening?
Hey,
Yeah.
I want to do one now.
Oh,
Like,
I-
everyone do your tax
Blooming
returns.
Rose.
You're coming up on that time of the
Get
year.
them done quickly.
oh, Blooming Rose, anyone? We need
And-
to go there soon.
I
Remember,
City-
you can lie to anyone except the tax bureau. They will find out.
iCity said that when they open a can of Heinz beans, they think of me. That honestly, that is better than saying I, love
that
you.
is-
That
every
means
time I see
everything
beans
to
now
me.
I think of you.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Can you gift subscriptions? I think you can. I think you can gift memberships. I'm not sure though. I think that's how it works. I haven't done it myself, but I believe you can. It's hot, isn't it? I agree, it's hot. Yeah, I think half.
Yeah, we were cold for like 3 days, and then
Shocking.
it suddenly became, I don't know, really.
I'd have my tax done
Wait.
so fast.
It's just
need
gonna,
to make
yeah, it'll just be
something.
me on call being like, "Don't forget your substitute income."
Oh Jesus! Okay.
With that, we will end this episode of Rook Club. Thank you all again so much for joining, and thank you to Waxy, Tiny, Haven,
And Haven.
Avi,
Oh,
Aris,
Especially
and also Venom. Venom did leave, but also Venom who
Yeah.
just did fantastic
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you
did
all,
Venom as well.
massively appreciated. Next week we're gonna have Wig Make a Job. I'll confirm the cast, but we're gonna have Haven as the lead role of Lucanus Delamorte. It'll be brilliant. Honestly, just seeing hearing and witnessing the dynamic of Lario and Lucanus will make it so good. But this is one of
Oh, I can't
everybody's
wait.
favorite stories. For our favourite Antivan Crow already in the Veilguard, so it'll be a great one to crack into for that one, and just getting a bit more Venatori content as well, just seeing their dynamic as well. But yes, thank you again to everybody joining us for Rook Club. We'll be back same time next week, 8 p.m. My time, Greenwich Mean Time, but then it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, whatever time that is specific. I don't know. Is it 12? Is it midday? Yeah, potentially, probably.
Yeah, 12, yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. But until then, all thank you again so much, and we will see you next time. But thank you.